As the generations passed, Dianthus spread their influence across the known world, and with the two pillars of their economy, the Imperial family and the Altician Church behind them, a standard was set. To defy Dianthus was to defy the world itself. The militaristic doctrine and relentless charge of Dianthus was balanced on the scales against the caring and inclusive monotheistic beliefs of Alticia. She, the one true goddess, creating all creatures beneath her, created also the humans. In Alticia's paradise, the humans and she remained stride for stride, until an historic turning point arose. The humans defied Alticia, and from their defiance, the gods, the mortal races, and the material plane itself sprung into existence. Welcome, travelers, to the Dragonleaf, the tea house where tales are told. Come on in and grab a cup on the house. We have new couches, so sit down this time. No more standing in the corner brooding, because nobody looks intimidating holding a cup of chamomile. If you like the content, leave a like in the tip jar and subscribe to our weekly tales. Leave a comment in the suggestion box and tell us how we did or how we didn't. Thanks for listening, and without further ado, it's time to open up shop.
Hello.
Hello, lovelies.
Ahoy there.
Hello.
Age, I'm sure I could find someone that's intimidating and holds a cup of chamomile.
That was actually a challenge, for sure.
Also, I don't take constructive criticism. I just throw it all away. So
Leave a comment anyway.
Leave a comment so we have something to ignore.
Yes.
Take it or leave it.
Take it as a challenge.
No, don't do that.
You're like the person who walks into the like car dealership and was like, "I'll take it. Whatever you offer me, I'll take it." I like that. That's funny.
You never want to leave a deal like that.
Actually, saying that out loud, I really doubt it. Last time, the family trudged deep into the Twisted Fae, meeting with a clerical drow woman, Selene, and a slew of colorful characters trapped in Mother's clutches. They defeated Mother and freed the community from her heinous, twisted mind control. As Mother dispersed into a pile of frogs from a fatal wound to the head, the family returned to the surface to find themselves in the Debbit family's living room, and meeting with the real Seelan McGurmick finalized their quest. On the way back to the city with the approval and the thanks of everybody involved, our heroes took some much-deserved rest over a month and planned to return to the McGurmick farm in time to settle ties with Quoria. As the time passed, our heroes got library cards from a Luxodon archivist and a fawn librarian. Vincent impressed one Carmina Valentine, a member of a family of famed enchanters. Killian and Paka made waves in the Denery with a large, mysterious purchase of steel. Jojo met with her mother to learn of a trip she is taking from work, and Matilda continued her research into the mysterious torch bloom alongside her family. As we jump back in, we have a few loose ends to tie up before we truly begin. We go ahead and dig into this.
I have a really dumb joke. Are
Do
the
it.
neighbors of the Debit family the cash and credit?
I'm trying Seelan. You never got a middle name, so Seelan Cash and Credit
The
McGurmick.
Cassius? That's like a farmer's name, right?
That's true, actually. That feels right.
Catch it.
I'm sorry. The
No,
joke
that's-
was, like listening.
It gave me time to find all of my myriad notes. As you guys took your library test, I just wanted to give a little library
yes,
test is a wonderful phrase that I just said. But I just wanted to give you guys like a general mini overview there. Entering into the area, you basically like were led by the fawn librarian who brought you guys to like this massive doorway. And as you push through and open the door into the inside, you see these like stacks of books basically spread into eternity vertically. You can tell this whole room is like warped and distorted. And as you move in, you basically begin to hear this laughter, and all but immediately you're beset by books flying at you that you guys had to dodge. The doorway closed with the fawn librarian like holding a tissue to her eyes in tears, and then as it closes, you all like look around. Eventually, you find this individual, this literal owl that's just flying around. You guys managed to catch it. Then you were immediately ushered a written test by said owl. As you guys wrote the written test, moving through, you basically needed to like take the hints that the tests gave you, finding these spells and using like ancient runic signatures. You were like, I recognize the spell. This is fireball. And then you guys would hear sizzling in the distance. And you're like, you figured it out. Now dodge it. As like various different spells came through at you guys. Following through with that, eventually you met with the archivist in a back room, who you basically just sat down with as his ever-encompassing gaze of these just massive and wise-looking Luxodon eyes standing at easily 12 feet tall or more. He watched you all, and as you finished your written test, Vincent, you managed to slip some cheating past him, and Matilda, you decided not to cheat. With the ever-watching eyes of the archivist upon you, it turned out the test was about your willingness to learn, not your capabilities from the very beginning. So as you guys all passed the test and showed yourselves to be true and honest, ... you managed to get your library cards. Congratulations. This is a standard library affair, as I'm sure anybody would agree.
That was the fastest dungeon crawl we've ever had.
Yeah, good job, guys. It's like a 15-minute crawl. It was fucking solid. The druid of the Shantia family sent you guys a missive to let you know that they have received and are going to accept your guys' request that you'd placed at the guild. However, there was no reward set out.
Yes, there was. We told the reward was a favor from our family.
A token of favor, yes. But as they had gotten back to you, they basically had said that they are willing to do this for not like a token of favor, but basically a quid pro quo. If they are to help you in the future, they would also like to receive help from the family.
Oh, I thought they're going to be like, bitch, pay me.
No gold seems to desire to be
All
exchanging hands here.
I'm assuming the help would be equivalent to what they're doing. So, gardening.
Yeah, they want your guys' help gardening, for sure.
Yeah.
That's,
Not in the sense of
garden.
it being exactly the same thing, but
Yeah.
it's not like we're going to go assassinate someone for them and then they just get
No.
gardening.
I'm good with a quid pro quo.
It would be a little bit surprising if Shantae was like, hey, got some people I need you to end.
Sure. I
Definitely
agree
out
to
of
that.
personality, it seems.
Nature's ruthless.
It's fair.
Actually,
But-
just an infestation of insects.
I don't think nature conspires. You guys show... Lavos has been working carpentry in the Whitewater Key over the course of this month as well, and has gained 60 gold pieces that he is adding to the family fund.
Oh, no, my love.
Lavos loves to walk amongst the mortals, as he has stated
Is
many times.
he
Oh,
just
Kelly.
as he is, or is he doing anything to disguise himself?
He has very faint disguises. Like, he basically just made himself younger. He has black hair, kind of like slicked back. His beard is pretty much ever the exact same. Very rarely changing. But basically, he changes enough that people would be like, is that the same guy? Nah, it can't be. But
Okay.
he could go further. You're 100% certain he could fully disguise himself, but he
Oh,
just kind of
sure.
doesn't.
Well, I'm not Kelly. I'm his younger brother,
Kylie.
Belly.
Yeah.
Let me see here. What do we got? Vincent, Regis gets back to you, and he states that he, in order to, because he basically initially left off with, I will search for this information, and then I will value it, and then if you pay it, I will give you the information. He said 5 gold, 9 silver, 6 copper for the information.
It's very specific.
It is. He seems to be a very specific person.
How much was it? 5 gold.
9 silver and 6 copper.
He pays. He's willing to invest to see if this man is worth his shit.
He gathered quite a bit of information. You have a person who specializes in creation of musical instruments through their specialities, and only in recent years have they begun to actually work in the arcane. They have not received a solid patron as of yet, and they basically jumped on this scenario, and their name is Ungdag, Ungdag. They are, as for all intents and purposes, a troll.
Does he also give me the location of these people?
He does. This person actually lives relatively close to where you had been for the McGurmick farm. He lives within Akadi's domain in the forests, under the protection of, as he has said it, Motor. All of you may roll religion in this case.
Ooh.
Religion is a skill I wish I had proficiency in, but I do not.
For this campaign, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it makes sense, but so many other ones.
Ooh, I don't like that noise.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find.
You
Oh,
may find.
nat 20.
Hey.
Ooh,
Eh.
natural 20 for 22. Matilda, you recognize the information here. Relatively studied in religion, you be. Motor is a Jotun, a offspring of
Oh.
Loki, the god of tricks.
Yes.
He is considered to be incredibly evil and somewhat of a monstrosity. You recall that Motor, in the time of war between the gods, when the dungeon was yet closed but had arrived in the material plane, Motor basically just escaped and said, I don't care. I will take this domain and it will be mine, and he rules over the forests west of Amaranth.
Wow.
As far as you know, this god has never offered an ash bond. But for the majority of it, if anybody goes to see him, they just die.
So, you're telling me a person who makes exquisite musical instruments is a troll that lives with an evil god?
hmm So you can see why this individual is having difficulty finding patrons. Aside from that, and this is all still kind of under this Regis umbrella, another person had offered a hand into the ring, having overheard that this individual was looking for information for you, and that was one Carmina Valentine, who has offered a little bit of a contract, but basically just saying if you are to meet them in their estate, they can discuss more regarding this relationship, not only with Carmina, but with the family itself. They
In
seem to have a
regards
job
to
for you.
What?
Enchanting services.
Oh, just in general? All of them?
In general, yes.
Okay.
Aside from that, Carmina also got back to you for the... you are welcome in the Ishtar family home. They've basically, because of your fame in the district and your relationships throughout, you have gained access to the Ishtar family home. You will not be stopped if you enter in. There are still many, many places you will not be able to go, but you have become welcomed within their family home. So if you wish to go there to speak to them about purchasing land, that's basically been done, but you are welcome there now as well. She is looking for any jobs that might be useful for the family, but at current does not have anything for you. She said maybe if you guys spread your family name a little bit further, then the higher ups of the family would be willing to work with you. There is also a nervous-looking man who has been spending a lot of time outside the Black Sheep every few days that Rosa brings to your attention. Vincent had so many pots in the fire. Theo got back to you. Mentors are very rare and hard to come by. No bards were willing to be your mentor at the moment, but maybe if you spread your family name a little bit more.
Wait, was Theo the nervous-looking man outside, or did he send someone?
No, no, it's a completely separate point.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. So no mentors. That's what I expected, but might as well ask.
The Veronica Debit has become a regular at the Black Sheep.
Oh.
However, her husband has been missing for 3 months and is now presumed dead. With the memories that rushed back to the family, he actually went missing pretty much at the beginning of this entire affair with the farm, and has not been seen since, has not returned in the months that you guys have been gone.
So probably a light snack when she was beginning.
Matilda,
Mm.
Mitra stops briefly one day when you are at home or at the family manor. And as you are sitting kind of just in abject peace, she basically tells you to go outside and make your way into the forest in the distance. As you turn and through various means enter into the forest, you feel that shard that you've been holding onto dissipate and get completely obliterated, like its presence is gone from you. As you feel that like brief chaotic energy suffusing you disappear, entering into the forest, you find a tree hollow that Mitra leads you to, and within you find a small rod. What does the rod look like?
It kind of looks like there's like a really creepy, like bony hand that's holding onto the rod, and it's like pointing it that way. It looks really gross. It looks like a dead hand holding a rod.
I like that you have like a pointer stick now as well.
Yeah.
As you hold on to
yeah.
this rod, Mitra grants upon you the boon that she had promised, and Faust is enraged. And he does not cease with the constant and just narcissistic yelling about your relationship between the three of you and the relationship of this mysterious fourth that has entered into the fray. You gain a Rod of the Pact Keeper, +1,
Woo!
as Mitra has exchanged it for the power held within the Feywild Shard.
Yeah.
Mitra grows slightly stronger, and Faust grows slightly weaker.
Whoa. Oh, shit.
Oh, it's like a balance thing.
Oh shit.
Killian.
What happens when one gets too strong?
That's spice.
Oh my god, it's like the twins. One of them's gonna absorb the other in the womb.
Oh.
Killian, as you are finishing up the identification of these items, you find within the longsword that was held in the manor, a fine-looking royal longsword, as it was, gives way, and as you hold on to it, it reveals itself to be an ancient and crumbling blade that seems to replace itself. As the rust chips away at the blade, you see the rust fill in, and just remains in this constant state of decay and destruction. You find a Lodumnian knight's longsword, and as you hold it and you become one with it, as you know the weapon, a phrase comes to mind when you hold it, as though spoken aloud, but none can hear it. It says, "We will never forget the resounding tone of our own mortality. I remain, and so I shall, my lord. Do you see me?" And this phrase, spoken out around you, dissipates into the open air as you hold on to this weapon that you know to be from the dungeon itself.
I drop it.
I was just
It hits
Feels
the
like
ground and
a-
ting, 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 ting. As it hits the ground, you hear boom. This resounding tone of a bell just rings out throughout the entire home or shop, wherever you happen to be at the moment.
Lavos!
Eh. You hear a door close upstairs, and the door in front of you opens simultaneously as he enters in.
The sword talks and makes bell sounds.
Oh, we could sell that for a good bit if it talks to you.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll head into town and sell this then. And he goes to pick it up. He
Maybe-
goes to touch the blade. As his hand touches it, he freezes in place.
Lavos?
Doesn't respond.
I scoop the sword out of his hands.
You once again hear the same phrase ushered out towards you, and as it leaves his hands, he's like, "Ugh. Oh, didn't you want me to sell that?"
I can do it. Let me talk with the rest of the family, see if we want to keep this. But don't touch it.
All right, that's fine. I ain't gonna fight you on that. Tell you what, I was just making some watercress sandwiches. You want some?
What are those?
I don't know, actually. We just got some in, and I thought, this is cheap, I'm gonna buy this.
Sure.
All right, cool. You'll be my guinea pig. And then he closes the door, and kind of, you hear him chopping down in the kitchen instantly. Beyond that, as we flash forward to the end of the month, is there anything that you guys did, like hanging out with each other during this downtime?
I imagine so.
There
I
was
think
this, like Jojo checking in on Killian, making sure she eats while doing her mechanical stuff. Was Vincent wanting to go to the pits to do gambling, or is that something he wanted to do another time?
If you were to offer it during this time, he would have totally gone. I
Mhm.
think his brain was elsewhere, but he definitely had plans. He had never gone, and he's been wanting to. So
Yeah, she'd probably mention to Vincent that she was going to go down to the pits. She
Okay.
went a lot throughout the month.
would it have been like us going to watch people battle, or would it have been you battling?
Maybe probably a bit of both. Be like, oh, let's watch before my fight, and then we'll see if I'm awake after that.
During the time that we were down there, the only thing aside from just enjoying the atmosphere. Vincent was taking a lot of notes in his book. You probably would have noticed that.
What are you writing about?
Oh, just ideas, honey.
About he like looks around and looks down at the people like fighting. Notes on like
Just-
what?
Future endeavors. I'm not quite sure yet. It's just kind of moving in my head.
Okay. Sure. Well, let me know when you've got a clear idea, or don't. Whatever.
Don't worry. I'll see. Depending on the
Hey.
situation.
Can I ask you something? Sort of people keep on being like, "Oh, interesting last name you got there." Is there like a thing with that? Are you like a noble or some shit?
If only. No, not exactly. I've been around Amaranth for a while. I was born here before the tower started, and our name held quite a bit of sway even before then. I'm surprised you haven't heard of it, but the
Oh, should I
Goldwater
roll a
Trading
history
Company-
check? I've never.
I'd say you rolled roll a perception check, actually. You have advantage on this check.
Bad.
Bad? You're just so focused on your runs in the morning that you don't look at anything, you're just in the zone. So you have no idea about really what he's talking about.
Yeah, I know a lot about the city. My mom's always talking about everything about the city, but never heard about the Goldwaters. So
Well,
it must not be that big.
you see, like, Vincent flip one of his pages is like slightly faster than he did before.
It's like the little anime thing in the corner, like the little.
But he seems calm and fine when you say that, and he's just like, well, and he'll look you down. You've usually been either down here or studying in the libraries, I assume, most of your life.
Yeah, basically main two places. I play chess in the park too, but those are, I run to like the Drowned Men's Peak, but yeah, basically those places are the only places I go.
Well, maybe look around when you're out and about. We'll see what you can see then.
Okay, I'll take a look next time and see if I notice the world through a different lens now that I know about the majesty that is the Goldwaters.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay. Ah, yeah!
Yeah.
As you continue screaming, it's always been kind of salty here, and you're never really sure why. But in this area, just the sheer body heat from all of the massive hulking orcs and half orcs, and just various different humans that are crammed into this massive
Imagine a
fighting
lot
pit.
of dwarves too.
Yeah, absolutely. Also halflings. Not as many halflings as all the others, but halflings come down here a lot. You know that this location that you are right now is fighting for basically sport, and the Honor Forge has fights that are basically to the death, from almost like settling disputes in scenarios. They're very few and far between, but they do exist within the Honor
Do
Forge.
they need to be approved by someone? Does someone
Yes.
need to be like, who would it be that approves fights to the death?
Gods, district leaders, families themselves too, because families can step in if there's like a dispute or a challenge that two family members agree to. Then a god can step in and say absolutely not, kind of thing. It's a big ordeal. It's not
Okay.
something that is incredibly common.
Does the justice system ever allow that, like a fight to the death for like a court case or something?
Does
Trial
exist.
by
With
combat?
Oh, like
Does
trial by
exist.
combat? Oh, hell yeah.
Does exist. Trial by combat is hard because there's no like fair rulings. If someone a first rank artist says trial by combat, then a 5th rank barbarian could be chosen as the champion on the other side. To choose that is basically to choose your death sentence,
Mhm.
unless you are practically a demigod yourself.
Mhm.
Were you gonna say something, Killian?
I was just gonna ask, like, is the Honor Forge like for the non like trial by combat? Is it usually just like, is it like Fable fist fighting, where it's like you take off your shirt and you just
Yeah.
go in and just wail on each other.
Pretty much.
Like, there's no weapons or anything like that.
No weapons. All fist, right?
Okay.
No magic, I assume.
Are monks allowed?
No.
Yeah, monks seem
Yes.
like bullshit in that situation, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can be ranked to just about anything, right?
Right.
I mean, I imagine you can also probably argue to get weapons so long as the fight is approved by both. But for the most part, it's pretty much fist fights.
And anyone with a tavern brawler feat, man, like
Yeah.
I kind of picture they kind of do it like they do in what is it called, the fighting, the UFC. They
UFC.
they do like weight classes and shit where like you don't pair up big Goliath with tiny gnome. Like that's just like.
I mean, you
like,
definitely could. You could be
You
like, I
absolutely could.
challenge you.
Yeah.
If the gnome agrees, then
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
If
what
the
I mean.
Goliath
like, if there's
agrees, you mean? That gnome's bringing him
like, if
down.
it just depends on the consent on both fighters. Like if you're a dumbass and you think that you're stronger than you are, then that's totally your bag. But I think that they try to make it so that they don't have to deal with dead bodies all the time.
For the most part, you guys, there's also a cleric on ready that
Okay.
casts.
yeah, I'm assuming the
guess-
fight would stop before someone got killed.
I'm forgetting.
I think Killian has heard about the Honor Forge from JoJo over the past month.
What's in the Anvil District? So I mean,
yeah,
you're
and it's also in the
Anvil
Anvil District. It's not the kind of thing that Killian would normally like. Like she would not seek it out as entertainment. But like, you know, it's probably like cooking in her mind. Like, if I could, you know, climb the ranks in the Honor Forge, like that could show people that, you know, monstrous or not
Ooh.
weak.
Are there ranks in
then-
the Honor Forge? I didn't even think about that. That's
She
sick.
just
Yeah,
assumed.
There's fighting ranks in the
Hell
Honor
yeah.
Forge.
S-class.
But she was
What-
also just like, if I can't use weapons or anything else, that no, it's not for me.
How many fights have you won now as well, Candace? Which would basically equate to the amount of days and downtime that you've made money at the Honor Forge.
Oh, that is a good question.
I think it's probably
think I
around
did-
12.
Yeah, let's go with that. I think I did.
Well.
I did half of this month was Honor Forge, and then I believe it was like half of the week. A previous downtime.
I'll round it up to 15. Let's do
Okay.
15. So that's half the month plus half the week. We'll give you 18.
It's up to you to decide how many I've won, I guess.
Basically, if you've made money there during like a show fight, you've won your bout.
Oh, cool.
It's actually been significantly easier for you recently to do that after being bound than previously.
Is that why I lost money playing chess?
To be fair, you were chess sharking a dude who is a known chess shark.
Oh.
Actively.
I guess I did say I was playing with Mortimer. I sort of meant like we go together and play against other people.
That's
But
totally
yeah,
cool too.
sure. It's cool if I was fighting Mortimer.
No, but
Fighting.
I like that actually. That's a nice little like you guys are going and you just give each other the
Yeah.
look at this idiot. And then they're like, excuse me, I'm right here. No, it's just that chess sharking doesn't make much money. Unless you get real good at it. Mortimer manages to make a living, it seems.
I was just saying the only other thing that would have happened during the downtime, Vincent would have visited the manor and overtaken one of the rooms. He would have started putting cloth down on the paper and asked Lavos for his carpentry skills to build him a couple pretty big canvases. He's gonna put up, start arranging some art supplies there.
Done.
The art studio at the manor. That's awesome.
It's not really a studio; it's just a room with a cloth
I mean,
on the ground.
That's a studio.
I
In
like
this
the
economy, absolutely.
Oh my god.
You put up
Get
4
out.
pieces
I'm
of wood and a
kidding.
cross beam. That's a studio. Yeah, as he makes you at first you think it's almost a little condescending as he's like, you want me to make you an easel? All right. And he starts like drawing a blueprint for the easel and it's like a square and he's like, wait, cross one here. Oh, that's good. But honestly, after like a minute, you're just like, come on, man, really? You don't need to. And then you see how focused he is on this design as he's just sitting there thinking about it, scratching his beard. You're just like, oh, he's serious. Like he actually takes woodwork this degree of serious.
Vincent questioned why he would make a square easel. Do you mean a canvas? Like a
Yeah.
like the,
Oh, sorry. That's why he went back to the drawing board. He was really figuring out the easel. Yeah, I meant the canvas, sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Adrian takes his carpentry very seriously.
I do, yeah. As you can tell, my knowledge is impeccable. To be fair, easels aren't carpentry. Easels are... I'm just going to stop there. I had nothing to finish that with. Sweet.
Yeah, and yeah, he's getting everything ready, but he hasn't started anything yet. He was too busy during the break.
If there's a sec, I have a couple things I wanted to mention. I
do
put a note up in the office, the dungeon office. What is it called?
The interface?
Yeah, the interface office. And then the note says, "Why do you stare? The girl with the dark hair and the eye and the whatever colored eyes. Love, Matilda."
Fucking slam poetry.
Yeah.
Here's my haiku.
I put it up on the board.
My haiku.
But yeah, she's basically, I can't remember what color her eyes were, but that's why it's like, why do you stare at the girl with the dark hair and the whatever eyes, and then love Matilda, and then I leave. And that's all that. Oh, Adrian, I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was just writing notes on all this.
Oh, sorry.
Love it. Sweet.
And then other thing I do is I call everyone here. I call everyone in the whole group to the family home, and then they just get like a note that says, I request your presence, and there's no other information. I don't know.
And he doesn't say like to meet at the family home.
No, it doesn't. It says I request your presence, and then in tiny writing, and she's like, oh fuck, I forgot. And she's like, at the family home. Love, Matilda. And then
Oh, love Matilda, that's cute.
Yeah, that's how she was told she has to sign letters. So anyway, she gathers you all at the family home, and she gives a very detailed, very PowerPoint presentation about all the research she's done about the torch bloom. And she's like, I've tried the different pH in the soil and light and compound came over and we tried this. In conclusion, I have found nothing except that it likes to suck up that weird ash stuff. And then so she just she brings everyone here as like a big lecture about all of the research she's done.
About all the nothing that you've discovered.
Yes, about all the nothing that I have discovered, yes.
I thought, this is just confirmation, Adrian. I thought at one point there was some sort of thing where it's like you could maybe gestate this over hundreds of years.
In the scenario of that, it wasn't that it could be gestated over 100 years. It was that if something like this could be gestated, it would probably take hundreds of years. And that was before she had continued her research to determine that this thing doesn't actually grow at all. Like
Okay.
it doesn't
So that was
eat, it doesn't
null and void.
metabolize. Yeah. Well, that was the initial findings. And then welcome to the actual world of science. Here's all the nothing we figured out. Look at all the things
Yes.
we've crossed off the board. Science.
Yes.
Go ahead, Killian.
I was just gonna say, did Torchbloom grow on the 10th floor?
As far as you are aware, go ahead and roll a investigation check.
Oh, nat 20.
Nat 20 for a 25.
Oh, nice.
As you... Yeah, let me do one thing.
The
Traversing?
bottom row. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say the bottom row's lousy with 20s.
Yeah. I love that term. Every now and then I forget that I love that term and I hear it and I'm just like, yes. As you were walking one day outside of the smithy, making your way through the briefly swaying winds through the crimson grass, passing the thatched huts into the center of town, your feet slap down against the soft, wet wood that has been placed down to make basic stairs against the muddy slopes. You find yourself staring at that large ashen gate that had appeared a few hundred years ago but not opened. And its strange nature draws you towards it briefly, and then off the beaten path as you begin to examine around it, it having no origin and no place to go, nothing to connect it to. You spot in the distance the faintest flicker of a bright kind of pink red that you do not recognize. This color has never appeared within your natural environment, always blood crimson. And you begin to examine, making your way out towards the forest's edge, and the further you go, the size never changes, simply this faint glimmer like a red spark in the distance. And you continue for hundreds of feet, thousands, until you reach the outer edge of the forest of the centaurs. And you know to enter in is to be at risk of losing your life, at least this one. With no real stakes other than the pain that can be issued to you by these reclusive creatures, you enter in. You find stealth in your footing, and you make your way through the forest until eventually you come across a leather-like, strange little flower. And as you go to pick it, you are unconscious. And then you awaken once more in the place where you had previously spawned. You see people approaching you as they provide you with more clothing, more tools, and just with a pat on the back and oh, well, that sucks. Back to it. You lost all the gear you had on you. That's too bad. Next time, don't be traveling out into the distance. And you go about your day once more, as you had lost your life in pursuit of this strange plant.
Bam.
There is one. that was the answer. Good investigation, though. 25.
At any point, do you think you'd share that knowledge with us? Like, would this PowerPoint have jogged your memory?
I don't think Killian would share that off the cuff. Like, I don't think she would find it helpful, I guess. I think if we got closer to the 10th floor, she might be like, hey, by the way, it does grow in this place. But, like, knowing full well that the last time she went there, she was just murked. She probably wouldn't be like, hey, let's go there.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah. No, I think this, in this particular instance, she'd kind of like, just like be staring at the plant for most of the like PowerPoint and kind of just like, kind of snap out of it and carry on as best she could.
Does anyone have any questions?
Not really a question, well, I guess it is. Are you going to continue with your research, or are you going to leave things as they are?
Of course I'm going to continue with my research. Nothing does not mean there's not something.
Okay, well, maybe next time gather us all here to do a PowerPoint when you find something.
While we're here, though.
But I did find things. I found lots of things. They just weren't things that worked.
I'll say things off the list is important as well.
That's true.
That's fine. I just mean it'd probably be, for the second time, more informative if we only cover the things that could work than the ones that don't.
While we're... Oh, sorry,
I will take this feedback, and I don't know if I will use it. Thank you so much for your for your feedback.
It's just letting you know, darling. People usually respond better to those things.
Okay. And you see that she actually kind of like listens and like takes that in.
Killian, did you have something you wanted to...
Just this, and like she pulls out the longsword. I identified it. It's magical. It kind of it's rusty, but it comes back. It's like in a perpetual state of decay, but also not. It makes a big ringing sound if you drop it. And when Lavos tried to touch it, he froze. So I don't think we should keep it around him.
I don't think that's entirely true.
How would you know?
I wouldn't, I guess, if I'm being honest with you.
Wait a...
But also, I don't think we should sell it. Because
this is from the dungeon, right?
I think so, yeah.
Well, this is just a hypothesis, but Lavos, gods aren't allowed to dabble in the dungeon things.
No.
Maybe I didn't want you dabbling in it.
Hey, let me see that again.
Okay. She like holds it in its sheath, or like she sheaves it and like offers the handle to him, but like keeps holding onto the sheath, knowing full well what might occur.
He just reaches forward and places a finger on it, and then you see him once again, just like.
Well, Vincent will walk over and like do the hand in front of the eyes.
Yeah, I look at the eyes. Are the pupils moving, or are they completely still?
Not even. They're not dilating. They're not. Nothing.
Matilda starts walking around and
cast light
very closely, and I cast light.
They
dilate?
They don't. You see like a single tear begin to like form and just drip down.
Oh no!
As all this light enters into his pupils.
This is very good knowledge. If it works on him, it will
Okay.
work on other gods.
I
That's what I
pull
was
the
thinking.
sheath away.
He
So
just
we can't sell this.
No,
Did that hurt?
because if we ever have a problem with someone, especially a god person, we say, "Hey, touch the sword," and then we won't have a problem with them anymore.
I'm gonna be honest, Matilda. A god that's going to be willing to do that deserves what's coming.
You okay? You don't
Yeah.
remember? You just remember touching it and then not touching it?
I think I was about to die. I saw
Oh, fuck.
bright white light.
Oh, never mind.
I was going towards it, but I was completely still.
I mean, that was my light, so if it makes you think that you're about to die, yeah.
If I die, you all lose your powers, so I don't want that, right?
No, I just meant if me and my visage made you think that it looks like death, I'm not surprised.
Oh, it was more the light rather than your visage. Frankly, that blazer is fucking popping off.
Killian, darling, do you want to hand me that for a second?
Yeah, sure. If you touch it, it'll yell at you.
That's fine. I've spent my whole life with people yelling at me from behind.
I hand it over.
Whoa.
Whoa. Yeah, you touch it. You once again hear the same phrase, which is, we will never forget the resounding tone of our own mortality. I remain, and so I shall, my lord. Do you see me?
It's always the same.
Does Vincent know of any lords aside
Any.
from? Okay, it could be a lot. He'll unsheath it and kind of look at the blade. You said it's there's like rust falling off of it, right?
Well, basically, the blade's chipped. It's not as though it's perpetually dropping rust, but anytime a chip falls off, you see it fill in.
Does the rust that fall on the floor does it vanish? Or
Nope, it remains a little flake of rust.
There's the ash from the Ashfall sticking to it, or does it pass through it?
As you bring the blade out, the ash falls through the roof and falls through the floor, and as you place it and catch onto a small piece of ash, it disappears.
Definitely from the dungeon. It might be worth trying to figure out if we can. It seems to regenerate itself, but only to a certain degree. We should keep the fall off and be able to use it for something.
I mean,
Okay.
you said it's like a enchanted sword, right? So we
Yeah.
can kill people with it. That's one. That's one
Yeah.
use.
I think it's a long sword, so Jojo, I think you can probably use it. I can also use it, but it's magical, so
Yeah.
I can use it as well as anyone else could. But I also
You're small. Is that a problem with sword?
no,
Items that big?
it's a little bit heavy, but the magic, the ash bond kind of gives me a lot of gumption that I shouldn't have.
Vincent does like a couple sword moves with it. You can see he's pretty proficient with it, and then just hands it over to Jojo.
Do you
Here,
know?
she can place-
I mean, I can use it. I mean, you identified it, right? Do you need to attune to it? You
Killian would know.
don't. I'm letting you know that you don't.
All right, well then you don't.
Well, then we can just trade it off whenever.
Can I touch it?
Sure.
Here you- yeah.
As
listen-
you... Oh, Candace, did Jojo also touch the weapon?
Yeah.
Okay, at this
And
point...
Vincent handed it to her.
At this point, as it has passed hands, Killian, every time you hold the weapon in your hand, you feel this very, very faint feeling of kind of like sadness, almost like a resentment, almost. And you hand it to Vincent. Vincent, now as you hand the blade over to Jojo, you feel this faint melancholy. Jojo, you feel that sadness and that resentment, and Matilda, you feel that sadness and that resentment.
I feel melancholy though.
Melancholy. It's not like it overtakes your emotions. You just feel this like a spike, a ping of an emotion in your head as
Can
the blade hits Matilda's hands.
For just better understanding for me, the player, can you describe? Because like melancholy is a bit of an awkward emotion. I don't really understand what it would be.
It's kind of like a brief sadness.
Okay, so I
Melancholy.
still feel sad like they do.
You
But
do,
it's
a
a
feeling of
different
pensive
flavor.
sadness. It's a different flavor of sad. Yeah.
It's wistful almost.
Like a sigh.
And
I would
it's
say-
only in the moment of passing the sword. Do you feel it?
You guys only felt this ping at the moment that Matilda's hands had touched it, after it had passed hands between all of you.
That
Huh.
voice, it's not great. I find that the ones in my head sound way better in my hands.
Yeah,
Can I
you do
take
hear
it
the same
back?
thing. Yeah.
Matilda, your voice is I know we've talked about this a little bit in the past.
Oh,
You don't need to listen to them, right? You have full control over them.
don't have to listen to them, no. But sometimes the suggestions, if they seem doable.
Okay. If there's anything that you think might be helpful, let us know. I think
Yeah.
it would be interesting to see what your little voices are saying.
Well, recently I went for a walk in the woods because Mitra told me to, and it sounded like a good idea. And then I found a rod in a tree, and I take my creepy hand rod.
Sorry, DM, just quickly, when Jojo took the sword back, did the ping of melancholy happen again, or just no? It was only
Yep.
when you
Now,
told to touch it.
every time you touch the weapon, now you feel this ping of. So for Vincent, it was melancholy. For you, it's more of a resentment. It's a very faint, sad
interesting.
resentment. Yeah.
Okay.
And is it for me too? Resentment?
Yes, and Killian as well.
Right.
You found that in a tree?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I would say finders keepers in this case. So,
Yeah, it was a gift from the voice in my head, so.
is it useful? Like, does it do anything? It looks
Yes.
a little your style.
Well, Mitra understands me. We've been together since I existed. So,
Little guardians on your shoulders.
I wouldn't call them guardians, but I've always been there.
Mm.
They talk a lot?
Depends on how much I tune in. I can't really tell anymore. They used to talk a lot more when I was younger because I was a lot more willing
Obedient?
not obedient, but willing to see their perspective and test out their theories.
I think the word is gullible.
You're more rebellious now.
I've always had a love for science and testing theories out, so if they proposed a hypothesis, I was always willing to try. So not necessarily gullible, but always willing to see what would happen. And then not doing it again if it turned out terribly. Well, for the most part, if it turned out terribly, I didn't do it again.
Did it ever turn out really bad?
Kicked out of a school once, and then I never went back to school after that.
Which school?
Oh. DM.
Yeah.
I tell you, the school. It is the garden.
Yeah, they kicked me out when I was 5.
Do I know this story from Yuka?
You do.
Oh.
This is a story that is basically told throughout the school as a cautionary tale.
Sorry, is this like the garden as in like the kindergarten?
Yeah.
Yeah. The garden school. It is a school in the Marble Slates.
And there is a story of an infamous story of a little child that got kicked out at 5. And this is, I think, the only child that ever got kicked out of the garden.
Well, I'd say congratulations, because I feel like that's something you'd be proud of doing.
I really know how to feel either way. I know that Mama Mal
Well,
and
you
Pom Pom were
accomplished something, and you got a
they were really upset. So then they just taught me after that.
well, learning lesson, I guess.
I think Lavos approaches you guys here and says, I can check your bones if you want as well. Since we're all gathered, it's a rare occasion.
Oh.
Do you
Okay.
think it's time for us to gain new power, or what's the occasion? Do you sense something?
No, I'm not sure. It's just good to give a little check-in every now and then.
How often do
check up? Okay.
I'll
people
go
in other
first.
families get checked? Because my mom said that Mister hasn't checked her in like half a year.
I don't I don't deign to try and figure out what Mistra does or does not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Mother of
It
mystery.
can be rare. Some families have near on 1,000 adventurers, right? Can't do that many in a day.
I mean, Mr. Samuel is huge.
One of the biggest in the city. So, yeah, come on, Killian, come on up. As he checks...
Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. As he checks your bond, he places his hands down, you see the faintest little bit of that just minuscule growth from the inside of the bond as it begins to spire out and attempt to like take form and shape. The pain that you had previously felt pretty much dulled to nothing as the bond offers you this kind of like innate protection against the forces of growth. And as you pull on the bond, you see a little bit of runic text appear. And in this flourishing pattern, you see little flickers of flame appear underneath. He says, "You gained a title. Congratulations." They don't do anything. It's just cool, right? It's kind of like a mark of your adventures.
What does it say?
It's
I
the
can't see it.
Firewalker title.
Oh, I knew you were gonna get that one.
There is another that's called, I believe it's Lava Strider or Lava Walker or something, but that one's tied to a specific event. As far
You
as
got
I,
toasty
as far as I
toes.
know.
Look, that's so cool.
You got toasty toes. That's what the title says. I can read it, so you have to believe me.
You know, that moment was worth the title. That was the sickest thing I've ever seen in my life. Did we tell you about that, Lavos? It was awesome.
Oh yeah, it was fucking wild.
I wouldn't want to do it again, but cool.
Any story you walk away from is a good one, right? In
That
15
mission
years,
was
round a
amazing.
tavern in the distance 5 miles down that way, you're going to find a little place, and when you pick up a mug, you can tell this tale, and you know, Bertra behind the bar is going to say, right, that's a fucking tale right there. It's going to be a good time.
Oh, wow.
Bertram?
Can I insight check him? Is this something to do with his time thing, or is this just him making shit up?
I would say go ahead and roll investigation on this one.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Speaking of titles and things to do, at the end of this month, are you all privy to finally check out the dungeon?
Did I get anything with a 15?
With your 15, you have received that. This was oddly specific. This definitely feels like something that has occurred to him in the past.
Oh, okay.
So 5 miles west of here, apparently there's a tavern with someone named Bertra in it.
Okay, cool.
That's funny.
My mom asked me to take care of my family while she's out of town. She's gone for probably another month, but I think they should be fine if I leave for a bit.
Yeah.
Well, if you're willing to go in, I would be up for that. I don't know if I want to chill around for another month.
No, I want to go in the dungeon so bad.
That's good. You were somewhat hesitant with before, darling, so I was afraid you were a little...
Well, I didn't want to. You were like strolling down the street being like, hey, you want to just stop in at the dungeon? That's like, that's some serious shit. You don't just go pop in as if it's like a convenience store, which is the thing that they have in the circle.
Well, to each his own. It's just good to hear that you're excited to go in. What about everyone else?
Ready. I've finished. I think Jojo, you've seen it, but,
oh, you guys should check out this thing.
Killian like does that like whistle.
Whipple?
Yeah. She like wraps her fingers around her two like kind of buck teeth and just whistles really, really loudly. And a like heavy plodding sound from behind the manor starts like picking up speed before what is essentially a giant like striding bird plods its way towards us.
Oh, I let go of my held Eldritch Blast.
Like you let it go off?
No, like I
Okay.
dissipated.
I think as it walks in, Vincent will just kind of like look at it and do like an artistic thing, like you're studying a statue or something, and kind of like walk around it. It's interesting. It's
Can you
actually
ride it?
surprisingly different from what I pictured, Killian. Good job.
What were you picturing?
Something different than this.
I believe you originally said some sort of horse, and this is, I mean, it's not a horse, man. Or,
I think
yeah.
Lavos also approaches and says, like,
Something
it's
on
not
all
back.
fours.
Could use a little bit of wood paneling, maybe, but it's not bad. Metal's a good choice, I guess. You see he's a little salty that you use metal in this construction.
Considering how sweet and kind you are, I was expecting a dog. Though birds are good choices, and I like wiggle my earring that has a dead bird skull.
What, looking at its size, it looks like you could ride it. Aside from that, what else can it do?
Well, okay, Jojo, I like sidle next to the like mechanical axe beak, for lack of a better term, and I say, try to punch me.
Okay, immediately. No questioning.
Make an attack roll.
Yeah.
So distraught.
I'm just trying to figure out. I'm like, do I have a thing? Oh, Natty.
Well, unfortunately for a 1, I don't have to use this, but it does it anyway. It uses deflect attack, and as you are about to punch me, the my defender just like blocks with its head as its energy neck just kind of shoots out and like interposes like a shield between me and you.
It hurts. You're like, ow!
Yeah, I think roll.
Tingly.
Killian, go ahead and roll Jojo's damage.
Yeah.
How much damage is that?
One
It's
plus
fixed,
strength.
It's not.
So
Yeah.
5
Oh.
Actually, that's just 5 damage, yeah. So, Jojo, as the axe beak comes in and you just slam your fist against it, you can hear a resounding just boom that then kind of ushers out with this just burst of etheric energy. You pull your hand back, 5 damage. You probably have like a couple cuts on your knuckles.
Yeah, just like the wrap on her hand, just like bleeding from underneath it. Just like, that's okay. I see you. She like just nods at the bird.
And then I mean, it's not just good for defenses. She like motions it over to like a pile of firewood, and like pushes like a big stump up on like the chopping block, and just tells it to chop, and you hear like a high pitch whir as the energy around its beak begins to like flutter as force energy appears around it, and it just chops down with its beak.
Oh, you got it. You got it. The TM.
Yeah,
Cut
exactly.
move.
You got it cut. You can get past so many shrubs now. Go ahead, Matilda.
I keep
So-
hearing the bird noises from Donkey Kong. The
Killian, do you that defensive maneuver, does it only work on you, or can anyone near it benefit?
And 10 damage.
10 damage. I think you expect like 1, and you're just like, this, I taught it this. And then the energy kind of almost splits at the last second, and it cuts it perfectly into thirds.
Oh man.
No, it not just me. If it's standing next to someone, it can protect them.
Interesting.
Jojo nudges Lavos.
Yeah.
He's like, what about now? You like
This-
it now?
This shit's fucking wild. Can any of you make me smaller? I want to give it a ride.
No.
I don't know
one
how.
day. One
You're a
day.
god. I think you should be able to do that.
Killian, this is
Turn yourself
fantastic
into like
work.
a gnome or something, Lavos.
If let's be honest, something like this don't really exist. This is a monumental accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I always knew this would happen to you. I always knew you'd do this. I believe in you. He just takes a few steps back.
Vincent just strides around it. Is it just a metal contraption? Like there's no bardings on it, or like decals, or like clothing?
So it's mostly metal. You see that like there's been like a few smears of green paint have been like brushed against certain parts of it, almost like accents, but like with Killian just being like, oh, there was some paint left over in the house that I'm living in. I'll paint it the same color as my walls, with like her hand because she doesn't have a brush.
Finger painting.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's mostly just like worked metal. It doesn't have wings per se. It kind of has like little like T-Rex arms that it usually tucks behind itself to kind of like protect its siding.
I love them.
Yeah, the chassis is like, you can see that there's like arcane energy within the chassis, and there's like a bunch of like kind of holes, like little vents and stuff that you can see the light coming out of.
I like the word chassis.
Yeah. And then the neck is all energy, so that the head can just like kind of swivel whichever way.
Wow.
You got a name for this thing?
Bladebeak?
Bladebeak. Cool.
I guess that works. Well, and I'll go over to it. Is it sentient? And kind of like wave his hand in front of it.
Not really.
Okay.
It's friendly, but it needs me to tell it to do things, typically.
Okay. Well, if you want, I know a good leather worker. They can make quite a interesting barding for this thing. You might be able to show it off in town when we head over to the dungeon.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
I thought you were gonna say, I know a leather worker. We can put some skin on this thing. Sorry, I've been hanging out with Matilda too much recently.
I think so. Darling, I don't deal in that type of flesh.
Killian says, I certainly wouldn't mind trying to get like a saddle on it before we go into the dungeon. I don't want to keep falling off of it.
Sure, I'll take you to Tristan's sometime this week. He will definitely like this. He likes odd things.
Okay. Great.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Matilda.
No. You sounded excited. Go.
No, it's off topic.
Executive decision, Matilda.
Okay. I work at the office that supplies adventurers with things. So maybe I don't think I should ask, but maybe one of you could ask on my behalf to see if we could get a discount on some things. I may have blown up the back a couple times, and I don't think me asking is going to go very well.
But the discount would be because of you.
I work there. Don't employees usually get a discount from places they work? Isn't that how that
works?
works?
It really depends on the manager, dear. And if you've blown up the back room a couple times, it's going to be a hard sell.
I mean, it might go better if one of you asks, though. So, I don't know.
I don't know. Don't sell yourself too short, love. You've got, and Vincent will look up and down, unique charm.
I think that's a compliment, but also not a compliment, so thank you.
It was very much a compliment, Matilda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like just that genuine smile. Yeah, that genuine smile. It's like, I think that was a compliment. It was. Oh, okay. As you guys finish this month of downtime and you find these fun little bits to hang out, we can move into, if you guys are preparing for the dungeon.
I just want to do that one thing.
All right.
Vincent just mentioned this when we went to the pits, that maybe you should be holding on to this, and Jojo brings out this rock with like a face on it and hands it over to Lavos. Just in case we need to talk while we're in the dungeon.
For the most part, I can move about a domain that I've established pretty much instantly, right? So this home, I can move through doorways pretty much freely. And if you need anything, if I'm holding this, I'll get you the resources you need at the moment, right? So this is a good idea. This is right ugly as hell, isn't it?
I know.
From what I know about this item, we should be able to communicate if we're in the dungeon as well, just in case we find out like someone in the city is about to be assassinated while we're traveling. Then might be nice to give you a heads up.
Yeah,
is that a thing that happens a lot?
Well, it depends on what degree of the underworld you're dealing with.
Yes.
Kinda, yeah.
I'm sure just as many people are born or dying each day, but it's more of the ones that are important.
It's got to be 1-to-1 at least, right? All right. This world, there's a lot of people here, right? He's like sitting here looking at you guys, literally being like, I don't know the math here.
Your guess is as good
I
as
mean,
mine.
Tamara doesn't know the math, but Matilda probably could do it.
Roll nature.
Oh.
Roll nature and or roll like human intervention.
Roll human nature.
Yeah.
19.
It's not 1-to-1, most certainly. It's like 0.42657.
Yeah.
Uh,
I just rattle it off. Blah.
Right,
So
that's what I said too.
one quick thing, just to add that we don't need to roleplay this or anything. How much is the barding for Tristan's thing for the thing? Vincent will cover it.
Barding just for a saddle?
Yeah, like he'll bring the axe beat over and give Tristan a fun new, how would you call it? Like creative endeavor.
Your riding saddle is 10 gold pieces. Tristan will charge you cost for this, basically. But I'm sorry, no, it's a little cheaper if you want it to be made, but it'll take time. Or you can have it purchased, and it'll be like 12 gold for labor.
Yeah, I would definitely want him to make it like a custom thing, and we have a couple weeks left. Would it be something he's able to finish before we go in the dungeon?
I don't want to like front load min-maxing downtime. In this instance, like if we wanted to say, oh, I want to go spend time buying something or even like shopping for a day, then that would be like a cost thing. So in this instance, I'll have you roll a fate dice. That's so favorable, guys. I can't be a jerk. It's not allowed. 10 gold pieces, flat, and if you're making it custom, that'll actually go down to 8 gold pieces. So it is fully customized to your blade beak and the amount of time that would take. Yeah, you guys get it days before you decide to end this month. So you can add a riding saddle to your inventory.
Does Vincent want to split the cost, or does he just want to pay for it?
No, Vincent just pays for it.
Okay.
He has like a thing with Tristan. Does he get like? Could Vincent bargain him down to 7 gold?
8 was already the good deal. What you can do though is roll persuasion for a free pair of saddlebags.
It's a 15. It's not
15.
A 1.
Silver tongue 15. You get saddlebags.
Cool.
So you can also add saddlebags to your inventory. As you guys finish
They'd
your
be like the axe beaks as inventory, I guess.
Yeah.
As you guys finish your month of downtime, in a day's preparation, Lavo says, it is good that you're going in the dungeon. There's a lot going on. And I feel like trying to get as high as you possibly can is a good thing. I think we should set our first family goal to be getting past the 4th floor. I think that's going to be good.
The
And then
4th floor
post
is
that,
the one
we're
that
gonna
takes
go-
a look.
We're going to go 10. Yeah, Parker's been saying it. It took him quite a while to get through there. So I think
Well, not
getting
only
past
that-
the 4th is good.
It's very hot. Obviously, I don't believe us getting up to the 4th floor right away, but any extra time when we get out of the dungeon, I have a job for you, Killian.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna
Uh,
need inner linings of, I think it's silver alloy. Matilda understands it better than I do. One fitted for all of us, as well as Parker.
Okay. Inner linings like clothing?
Just something to go between our skin and the clothes. It should be pretty thin.
Okay. If it's hot, won't that heat up?
No, we were discussing this. Oh, maybe you weren't there. But Parker told us that they lined the cages they put him in when they exported him back, and it helped keep the heat off.
Oh, okay.
Something odd goes on the floor. I don't trust that things are as they usually are out here on the surface world.
You can do the metal work. I can do the sewing. I'm not incredibly good at it, but I have had to sew up many, many bodies, and it's pretty much the same thing with clothes, just not skin.
I'm also skilled with leatherworking tools, so if we can just work on it together wholesale.
Yeah, it's going under our garments, so it doesn't need to look good, but make sure it's at least comfortable.
Look, take today. Get what you can. Prepare. And then tomorrow morning, bright, fresh and early, let's do our first foray, right? You can go today. Today is a good day. And you can see he kind of like thinks back for a brief moment. He's like, today is a good day. If you go tomorrow, it's not as good a day. But it's like it's not raining, right? Does that make sense to you? Today it's raining, but it's lucky. Tomorrow it's not raining, but it's less lucky.
How do you know this, Labos?
I don't know. It's kind of like a dream I get.
We should go today?
It's up to you.
I still need to register.
Oh,
we can do that. Well, we can do that before we leave.
Won't that take like all day?
No. Usually when we walk in, they kind of like part the seas. It's kind of weird.
Adrian, just so you know, I didn't know we jumped forward in time. I thought we were still on the days before. There is something really important that Vincent needs to do the day before we leave.
That's totally fine. All of this stuff can basically just be like transient, happening whenever. This is just Lavos communicating like a mission. Let's get to the fourth floor.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
As long as this is the day after that, then he's free to go immediately.
All right, sweet. Lavos says, that makes sense. Perfect. So that's what we're going to do. And of all of this, here's the thing, right? You guys have been doing real good. Like, fantastic, right? I've been hearing names spreading around, too. This is all happening very quick, much faster than I would have anticipated, but you're getting the name out. You're doing good work. That thing with Mother.
Water mobbits.
Yeah, with the little rabbits, right? That was big. People are paying attention to that. Fucking good work. That's all I really wanted to say. As we prepare for going forward, I got you back wherever it can be. So I want you to remember that and rely on me as much as you can. Because we're family. He just begins to tear up slightly.
Killian rushes forward and just like hugs him around the knee.
Aw.
Places one just like meaty paw on the top of your head.
I join in the hug. Matilda's very well versed in group hugs.
He looks at Vincent and awaits his family hug.
Vincent just bows accordingly and walks in. Except you guys hugging him.
That's not how the social interaction works, Vincent. When we all hug, we all supposed to hug at the same time.
I'm enjoying what you guys are doing to me.
Jojo.
I don't think there's a right or wrong way to hug, Matilda.
I do my way. You do
Here,
yours.
yeah, I'm hugging.
Okay.
Hug harder.
It makes it weirder when you say stuff like that. When you're like,
All right.
hug.
This hug's over. I'm going to go make more watercress sandwiches. It's all we have.
Yeah, we should head out. It's time.
It's not my fault you don't understand the proper procedures of hugs.
I actually had a question. Vincent, what do I do with all this money? And Killian just like 300 gold in this backpack she's been lugging around.
Well, we do have do not bring that into the dungeon.
You could
It's my
bury
first-
it.
My first thing to say, love, if you bring that in and I'm sorry to put it, but the monsters in the dungeon still act according to the will, I assume, so it will attract unwanted attention.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
Maybe bring 10 gold or something in, just in case you meet a merchant in there or something. I don't know what to expect. We have a vault in here. Do you mean long term or short term, though?
Both. I've never had this much money.
Long term, you said you had a small business going, right?
Yeah. I mean, here and there, I don't get a lot of work.
Well, at least what I know from my business savvy is the more you put into your business, the more you get out of it.
Okay.
So if it's something you really want to pursue, that might be a good area for that. But make sure to maybe buy like at least a health potion before we go into the dungeon as well.
Sure. Yeah. How much are those usually?
Do you have any areas where your reputation is very good in the city? I know you might have a harder time with that.
Um, I most of the people I know are in the dennery.
You should just come to where I work. I'm usually make the ones that people take into the dungeon.
Okay.
Not to interrupt this wonderful bit of roleplay in the sowing the seeds of passive income and glorious commerce. But this is where we will take our first break. So we will see everybody back shortly.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can jump back in here. Welcome back, everybody. We will jump straight into a spotlight. Go ahead and roll a d20. Select you guys like this. Here we go.
Oh wow. I figured I would go first, but I do.
But you don't. Vincent got an 11. Jojo's 3. Killian 9. And Matilda, you got a solid 10. We begin with Vincent. As you guys take your leave from the family home, and Lavos gives you a fond farewell. He takes the sending stone, and you guys had mentioned briefly that you were going to do a party name thing registration at the dungeon. You cannot use the family funds unless you have them on you, because you can only really guide the dungeon back to your family if they know where the family is.
Vincent would have totally, we would have taken the 50 gold.
Yeah, take that 50 from the family funds. I will subtract that now.
Oh, from his month of carpentering.
He still made 10. He's happy about that.
It's gotta work.
Papa.
Luckily, he doesn't need to eat or sleep, so that's nice.
That's true.
So as you guys prepare, Vincent, you are up first. How do you spend this day of preparation?
So yeah, the day before we leave in the morning. So this would be the previous day from when we ended the roleplay before. Because that day we were gonna go into the dungeon. In the morning-ish, during his long rest, he's gonna go downstairs. He's at the Black Sheep, and he's going to. It's pretty early. It's probably like 6 or 7 a.m. And he's gonna knock on Rose's door.
Ooh, I like that. The light streaming in through the colored curtains. You rap on Rose's door in the early AM. I think she's likely already dressed and up and about.
I don't know. I feel like she might be sleeping, but
What time is it?
it's like 6 or 7 a.m. But we work nights, so
That's fair. She would definitely be asleep.
well, like just getting up. She usually gets up around here.
I think you find her in her nightie at this point. There is no... That's incorrect. There's no window in Rose's room. Or is there? That's actually up to you.
I'd say no. Like I'd say there's just like light, like interesting lighting in her room, but not like windows.
Okay. You pop it open, or she props it open and looks in towards you. Vincent. She just glances around. It's early. What are you doing?
Well, do you mind if I come in? I need to speak with you.
Of course. She just leans open the door and begins to make her way in. Would you like some morning wine?
I'm good actually this morning. Here, and I'll hand her a cup of coffee he's already made.
She takes like this tiny little glass that has decorative gold on the base of it, and she pours out like a thimbleful practically of wine that fills this entire fluted glass. What did you hand her?
A cup of coffee as well.
Of course. She begins to make that. What brings you to my abode so early?
Well, I was curious. Could I see your schedule for the day? I wanted to catch you before you started.
Well, sure. Well, just nothing really heavy until the afternoon, or the evening rather. I think I have to just do a little bit of shopping today. Nothing I can't move.
He holds out his hand expectantly for her schedule planner.
She gives it to you.
He's going to prestidigitation the whole page clean.
Can magic do that? Wait a minute. She thinks about this for a second. Why did you do that?
Well, your schedule's wide open, darling.
I didn't expect you to forget, but this is interesting.
He'll close it and hand it back. This is a beautiful occasion, and I don't think you should be spending it working.
You see, she like that frustration slowly just dies away, and she's like, "Well, what did you have in mind?"
He'll walk over and, you can still do the shopping today. I was just thinking we could go somewhere a little bit, more than errands. And then maybe a nice lunch in the afternoon, and in the evening, I've got some stuff planned near the Reverie for you.
Ooh, so take charge. What do you... She picks you up, basically. She was sitting down briefly and brings you to the corner of the room.
Picks me up?
She doesn't, physically lift you. But, if you guys were sitting in a chair, she basically begins to lead you to the corner of her room where you see she has 3 dresses that are set out in mannequins. And she said, I was trying my hand a little bit on a little bit of, actually just making my own clothes. It's much cheaper. And which one? Pick one. You see that she has this one white dress that kind of has almost like a flower motif, has an outer layer that's transparent. One black and red dress that is much thinner, and then one that's basically pink and puffy.
He looks over them. How would he rate them? Should I roll to see? Or
just for the craftsmanship, it doesn't stand up to your standards. But by nature of the
designs?
Of the designs themselves, amateur work, but pretty good.
I don't mind the designs, dear, but if I'm going to be honest, I think anything would look good on you, but these could use a little bit more finesse.
That's rude. And thank you for your honest
Well, I do
opinion.
have something to make it up for you. And he'll go over to the door. There's a little stand there. You put a box down when you walked in, and he'll pick it up and he'll walk over. Happy birthday, Rosa. And he'll give her the gift.
She opens it and looks in and sees the clothing that you had previously purchased from the High Vista traders.
It's a pretty fancy gown. Very high-end Syrian. It's a kind of orangey sheen, kind of see-through material. Full body except for parts missing. Only one arm is draped. A bit of the chest and the underboob is showing, and the whole back would be revealed. And it's got starlights and moons all over it as well.
She's looking at it. She's like, "Oh, I was trying to ascertain what it was you had planned based on the clothing you would have chosen. This is
this might be a
beautiful."
little bit much for today, but I thought you'd look good in it either way.
She picks it up and just presses it against herself and begins to move it back and forth in a swaying motion. Okay, I have to get changed.
You don't have to wear this right now. We're simply just
I have to get
going
changed.
shopping for lunch.
I have to get changed.
He'll lean in and give her a kiss on the cheek. I'll wait outside.
I didn't say you had to leave. And then she just undoes one shoulder, and over the course of a few minutes changes into this this gorgeous dress. And she just begins to prep. So what are we doing? What are we doing first? You're not going to get rid of me for the full day. You say I can go shopping? Let's do that first.
My treat. I'll limit the budget, because I know how you can be. Anywhere you want to go, honey. Denery, maybe the Reverie.
Ooh, I would not mind a little bit of a trip down memory lane.
Can I roll history on that?
You don't have to. You guys used to come here quite often when you were younger. There's a lot of plays here that had piqued your guys' interest. Some of which you managed to go to through the elder Madame Belle, as Rosa has now taken on that moniker. But you guys, I will let you drive this scene from here on. What do you do?
He basically just books a carriage. We kind of go around different places. Oops. It's shopping, probably buys her a couple nice maybe accessories for her dress, like earrings or bracelets and stuff. We have like a nice lunch and things like that. And then in like the mid-afternoon, just before the evening starts, he lets her know that he still kind of has work today, but he still thinks she'll like it. So he wants to take her to the audition at the Sealand Theater, open theater in the Reverie, and have like she can view the private audition that's been playing.
Believe. I can't recall. I don't think that was actually in the Reverie.
Oh, was it?
Let me go and check. Celine's open air theater is in. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. SUNY Region Reverie.
Yep.
So as you guys make your way through, I'm gonna ask you this: how nice of jewelry did you? What limit was your budget? Because Rosa would butt right up against it.
I don't. What is good? Like obviously you could pay thousands and thousands of gold for a piece of jewelry, but I don't really have that right now. What would be considered wealthy but not, crazy? Like what margin starts to go into wealthy? Is that like a gold per piece of jewelry, 10 gold?
So your average worker makes roughly 3 gold pieces a week. So if you were to spend like 10 gold on some assorted jewelry, that would still be nice jewelry. 10 gold basically is what an aristocrat spends on a daily expense. Like 10 to 12 gold would be like, oh my god, really? Kind of thing.
I'll do 8. I'll spoil her a little bit. Slightly less than it should be, but it's more than Vincent wants. It's perfect.
I think with the two of you together, that's basically an auto guarantee of a persuasion check. So I think you show her the thing. And she's like, this is gorgeous. I love it. Oh my god, I absolutely have to have it. And you see the look on the dude's face being like, yeah, this is a guaranteed sale. And then when they leave, just steam is pouring out of his ears. And you guys got like this deal from like a 15 to 16 gold piece thing down to 8. So she has like a pair of bracelets that are like gorgeous and accent her dress. Did not know who they were dealing with at that moment. You find yourself at the open air theater. Did you do anything during the afternoon? We can just say that this one thing is like the full day thing.
Yeah. Basically, he spends the whole day. Just the lunch. We'll take her for a nice lunch. I don't know how much that'll cost.
Nice lunch, like 5 silver a piece, so gold.
Okay. And then I will. Then it's just like walking around, seeing the sights. The Reverie has a lot of like performers and things going on all the time, and people singing and doing stuff. So it's just spending the day out. It's kind of like a festival down there all the time.
Especially within Suni's home, the Firehair Mansion. You see that there's pretty much always things going on in the 4 courtyards outside of it. You got buskers, you got music playing pretty much all the time. You have dancers, anybody. It's a very expression-based location. And as you find yourself traversing into a small theater in the corner of Suni's district, overlooking Garl Glittergold's own home, you find it's a small and quaint theater, but somewhere you have visited relatively often. You see, sided by 2 fences, they've basically overtaken this area that was once a park and have encased it. You approach and you see the what's the word? Ticket taker. As they stand on the entrance, you show them the missive for the dungeon, and you enter in a very kind of lithe, almost, for lack of a better word, kind of like this just stereotypically nerdy looking tiefling boy. It's just like, thank you. You can go in anytime. Right through there, big wooden door, and he points towards the only door in this fence, and it's just like, have a good day.
Thank you, love. Vincent will tip him like a silver.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. It's right generous of you. And he just throws it in his shirt. He's nervous. Seems like it's the first day.
He heads over.
You enter in. You've been here before, and as you find this theater is named for Celine. She was previously the owner, but you find that she's actually passed, and the theater has been passed down to other people. Entering in, you find you find yet another. One moment, I have the wrong document open here. You find a troop, an acting troop, has been kind of set up here, and they begin to prepare their medians as the preparation for this play that is known as the Rat Queen is begun. Go ahead and roll history for that one. As they set you down and they prepare you, they point you towards. They're like, "Oh, we got quite a few jobs prepared. Which one were you aiming for?"
Oof. Not one, so 3 for history check.
3? Okay, you do not recognize the name of this play. It might be new. You've never heard of it. You've seen quite a few plays. This one seems new.
Vincent, probably the piano, he says to them.
All right, it's right up here. I will need you to play 3 themes, and this person seems incredibly confident and a little bit pompous. 3 themes. One that is a bit of a sad air with a motion into a consistent and thorny love, if you can understand that. The second theme will be one of a build-up, and the third will be the lowest point of your entire life. So if you would kindly, and they just sit down on these wood logs and like stare up at the stage.
Sorry, Adrian, what was the second one?
I don't know.
Oh.
The worst day of your life, a thorny build up to love, and then I think I don't remember.
Okay.
Play it back.
It's fine. So Vincent just kind of like sets Rosa down on the side to like and so she can watch the performance. And he'll circle around. Is it on a stage or is it just like a piano?
It's on a stage, yeah.
Okay. He'll go up, and just before he gets to the actually before he leaves, he'll look over. Is there any limitations, or you just want me to do the best job I can?
I need to see what you're capable of. Beyond that, then we will implant the entire theme for you with a thought strand.
Sure, darling. And he'll walk up. As he's getting up on the stage, he's gonna cast awe on himself, which is he's just gonna like gesture over his shoulder. It's just semantic. And he'll also do another spell. As he walks over to the piano and kind of like sits down and gets ready, he'll test a couple keys on it. As he's doing so, he's going to cast Unseen Servant using the piano as a bardic material spellcasting focus. So an invisible servant shows up. And then there's other instruments in the back, right? This is a theater, right?
There are instruments in the back. The theater, basically you have several set up on the stage itself. The piano is the one that he pointed you towards, since you said that's what you wanted to utilize.
Yeah. So I'll instruct my invisible servant to go back and grab a violin.
You see a violin just kind of begins to float out as the curtains flitter back and then flitter back open again. You're basically standing what amounts to, there's like a this stage is built into the side of a building, and that building's wall is just cut out and they put curtains in front of it. The violin appears for you.
Okay. And yeah. Whoa. There's like a weird noise.
There's a
I
timer.
don't hear it.
I hear a ticking noise. Timer has expired.
We can just continue and finish up this scene.
I just need to know what I need to roll.
Go ahead and roll 3 performance checks for me. You see the unseen servant brings out the violin, and as you take control of it, begins to play in symphony with yours. You can add composer to these checks as well.
Cool. I was going to be like, I basically have to compose these on the spot, so.
The individual who had led you here as, oh my, what? I'm sorry, what?
30.
Okay. You only need to make 2 checks. You make the second one with advantage. Fuck.
They're already with advantage.
Oh, they're
29.
already with advantage. This Air Genasi man that has led you here, he sits and he didn't seem to expect very much. But as you move, like, you literally brought company with you too. And as she sits down next to him, she just gives a smile. And then as you see him look over towards her and then look back towards you, like cocking an eye, being like, this might be interesting. And as you play literally akin to the gods, the song that begins to usher out from this series of instruments, not even just one, but two playing in concert, is this just... The first theme is this sad and melancholy. It brings itself in, and as this, not obviously this is not piano, but as the emotion begins to set in, he just stops and immediately leans forward, listening to it just roll out its tune, and by the end in tears. You move into the second one as he remains speechless, and it just pours out across the stage. As they're listening to it, Rosa begins to set in tears as these themes begin to move them through the tale that they're weaving in their own heads. And upon the third, as he's about to stand and say, you don't need to go on, and then he sits the fuck back down to continue listening to see whatever the third one here is. And then as you finish the themes, they stand up and they just make their way to the stage and they shake your hand. And they say, you're welcome anytime. My name is Harai Zephyr. It's an absolute pleasure to make your acquaintance. What is your name?
This is awkward because I assumed we introduced each other. It's Vincent Goldwater. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, it is. He places down 150 gold pieces just in a small sack and says, this is the maximum that we can offer. Please, if you're interested in being a performer here, you're welcome anytime.
I've already played here a couple times, darling, but it's always nice to come and enjoy the scenery.
You're the tiefling who drew the Imperial family. That explains a lot. Please, and as he continues just basically genuflecting in front of you, brings himself down to a knee and just humbly begins to move. You can see other performers in the area are fucking floored by the fact that this dude just brought himself down to a knee and like grabbed your hand and is just moving. Rosa's sitting there being like, this poor sod. Like, he doesn't like this. Oh, this is his first time. Poor guy. And as that completes, you've successfully torn through this audition and you have every right. They begin their performance towards the evening, and they offer you free seats. Of course, please stay, learn what the show is about. And it is a beautiful and melancholy performance. Sadness begins to pour through as the tale is basically one of a woman who has, as far as you can tell, lost her mind and has traversed a kingdom of her own mind within the confines of a prison cell. One where she herself is the queen of all things that surround her, save for the only thing that remains around her in reality, the rats that were her only friends. It has a happy ending as it comes through, and she manages to find herself to a fine place in life. And the play is not bad. It's quite good. Beyond that, what do you say as you cap out this evening with Rosa?
I think at the end of the evening, Vincent will just go over and kind of put his hands on her shoulder and be like, well, I hate to bring this evening to such a close, but it was beautiful and you were beautiful, darling. I will be traversing into the dungeon tomorrow, though, so, in case I don't come back. And he'll lean down and just give her a kiss.
At that concept, you see a tear roll down her cheek, and she says, just be careful. After a lot of cursing and frustration and like, you don't need to go, you don't need this at all. Tear that bond from your body. Nothing's going to take you from us, or nothing's going to take you from me. And eventually just what you're left with was a somber and loving goodbye. And you better fucking be there. Whenever you get back, you come, you see me right away kind of thing. I said we'll go till 2:15, but this, my math was
sorry, this
horribly
was
off.
all three of them at once.
Yeah.
Okay.
So next up in the initiative order, as we move through, Matilda.
It's me!
It's you!
Matilda has some shopping to do.
She needs to go get adventuring gear, and she needs to go and get a new outfit, or at least just pants. A new pair of pants, because Matilda's like, I went into the water and wearing a dress was not good, so I need to wear pants. And she basically just goes around and runs all of her errands. And then after she finishes all of her preparations, like shopping wise, she waits to go to buy potions because they mentioned doing that together earlier. So then she goes and has dinner with her parents, because it's Pom Pom's night to host, and I bring the little rabbit with me so that I could drop it off at Pom Pom's house because it's a thing.
Is the rabbit alive?
Yes, I kept it in my house. I decided not to kill it. I've been living I've been making friends with it. I don't know if it's worked. Matilda's like tried to speak Sylvan to it, apologizing, like, I'm sorry, I wanted to eat you. I realized that was dumb. Let's be friends.
You begin to speak to this rabbit in Sylvan. Go ahead and roll animal handling. It does not seem to recognize your words. It's basically just, for the little while that it was being carted around, it seemed relatively terrified. But bringing it like into your home and settling it down, it's basically just now been like, what happened before? I don't know. I'm a rabbit. This is good, leaves, as they begin to just get accustomed to the area around you. And yeah, you begin to get it to the point where it'll happily eat out of your hand, letting it out of its, wherever you keep it. It hops around the house and it does every now and then, like, draw blood, because it'll just be like completely chill sitting there eating, and it'll just stop and it'll stare at you for a second. It'll just horn right to the leg, and then it'll just continue eating again. But for the most part, it doesn't seem aggressive. It almost seems like a caring impalement.
Yeah. Its name is Hag.
Oh, nice.
Straight to the point.
A fitting name for a beautiful rabbit.
Yeah, and so I go to my parents' Pom Pom's house for dinner, and I bring the rabbit, because I'm leaving it at Pom Pom's house with very strict instructions to not harm the hag.
I think Pom Pom just holds it outstretched and is like, yes, lovely. Placing this down. Puts it on the ground.
Does it stab them in the shins?
It does. It goes to stab him in the shins, and he raises a foot and kind of places it over and just presses it down on the rabbit until it's just like flump, all fours out on the ground, and it just continues like.
Don't hurt them.
I have signed an agreement with you, a verbal contract, that I will not harm this rabbit. However, there is no harm in a grapple. He just holds the rabbit down briefly. As soon as it seems like it is no longer frustrated, I shall allow it free rein to saunter.
Once Mama Mal shows up and we're all sitting down for dinner, we're all like eating, and Matilda is like,
oh, I'm going into the dungeon tomorrow.
Oh. Are you prepared? What do you have? Do you have rope? Do you need rope? Climbing gear? I don't have any per se, but we could go shopping and grab some. I've noticed you've purchased new pants.
Yes.
Are those dungeon pants? Let me take a look.
Are those a thing?
This inn seems terrible. I'm going to get this tailored for you so that they're a bit more prepared. You don't want to hit any bramble, any sticks,
any
rocks.
I don't have time.
Of course there's time. When I was your age, I had so many things to do.
Were you ever this age?
No, yes. I mean, mentally, no, I was superior. Of course, but it's in regards to serving your lord has its ups and downs. The dungeon was one of them, both ups and downs, and we just want to make sure that you're prepared. We love you very much. So, okay, Tilda, first, let me teach you something about haggling. This doesn't necessarily come up very much, but people will never... Do not trust them. They will never grant you what you wish immediately. You have to work for it, dear.
Sorry. I'm enjoying this. Keep going.
They begin to talk to you about just the basics of, like, who to talk to, how to understand. Always start with a question. If someone's trying to sell you something, they will always start with a question. Make sure to sideline them. Never make them think you actually want the thing. Make them feel like you're doing them a favor. Various different, like, you've already heard all of this in regards to getting someone to sign a contract, but in this new light, you're like, oh, interesting. The concept of just a material purchase.
And I write it all down.
They look towards each other for a long time, and they think very heavily. Matilda, roll a general charisma check with advantage.
Come on, Matilda, you can do it. Oh, this is a good time for a cracked warlock to make an appearance. Come on. Yes.
Okay, and now roll insight.
Just regular insight?
Yeah, straight up insight.
Oh, come on. Oh, do good, Matilda. You know people, right? You're good at people. No, I'm not good at people.
That's a 9. As Pom Pom stands, he says, I'm going to go upstairs. But then he walks away. You are currently at Mama Mal's house. There is like nothing upstairs for him to go to. As he traverses up the steps, you see something drops out of his pocket. A small piece of paper that basically, like, it falls, and then you see it just kind of slowly stop, rotate in midair, and begin to flutter as though the breeze is taking it, and it lands on the table next to you.
Do I think that this is weird, or like, oh, paper? Like, what?
With a 9, this kind of happens, and you're just like, you take it however you do as a player.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm drop this, and I pick it up and I look at it.
Mama Mal's just like, I don't see anything.
I read it.
It just reads, outside, third rock, 2 feet.
Oh, I'll be right back. And I run to go find it.
Of course, dear. And Mom, no questions. You head outside. You, like, circle around the back of the house, and you see these 3 large stones that have been placed down. You pop open the third rock. You begin to dig, and 2 feet down, you just boom, hit this small piece of wood. Popping open, you see a small chest, and as you open it, you find a binder. Or not a binder, rather than a small journal. Relatively old. The journal is leather bound. It has, like, very lovingly carved faces of the damned across the top of it, and some, like, spiraling energy that's carved across the back. Along the spine, you see both of their names, Melisandre and Fen, carved into the spine of the book. As you pop it open, I need you to roll a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, God.
Voice number 4.
Matilda's books are the new orbs.
Yes.
Yeah. Very nice.
Oh no!
You cannot make heads or tails of any of the writing on these pages. They're scrambled. They make no sense. It's just random characters.
Okay, well, that's not as bad as it could have been.
Oh! A new puzzle to solve! This is a perfect gift!
As you return to the inside, your Mama Mal says, "What were you doing? Playing in the garden and nothing more?"
I, like, slap the book down. I'm like, look what I found.
I don't see anything. And she kicks the table and it flies across the room and the book slams into the wall. Oh, flies. Oh, the flies. They're everywhere. I'm going to kill every one of them. They will know nothing but my rage. She begins to step.
I put the book in my bag and I'm like, okay.
What did you have there, dear? What were you holding there?
It was a book?
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
I could see it. It was some kind of a stick or something completely meaningless.
Oh, yes. It was a very nice stick.
She gives you a hug. Exactly. Anyway, whatever stick that is, it might help you. So make sure to hold on to it when you put your weight on it in the dungeon.
Okay.
Just smiles, pinches your cheek. By the way, the ghoul, have you had that happen since around you? You know, when we were excising the cadaver.
Not that I'm aware of, no. Also, please don't let Pom Pom hurt the rabbit. They say they won't, but I don't know.
They might.
Yeah.
A lot of things trump legal contracts when it comes to them. So their patron can't be trusted, is what I'm saying. I'm sure you are aware that we should not be trusting anything that Mitra says or anything that any Fae says.
Oh, really?
Never.
Oh, I fed her recently.
Let's not do that again. All food should go to the Lord of Darkness, of course.
Okay.
Pinches your cheek. I'm so proud of you. Anything else you wanted to RP during these momes?
Oh, the only thing that I do is I do go check my note in there like sometime during the day just to see if there was
to see
a
if anything
reply.
was answered. Okay.
Why do you stare? Why do you stare?
In this case, you can choose. Go ahead and roll either intimidation or persuasion. It did say love Matilda.
I'm gonna say persuasion only because Matilda thinks it's persuasive. That does not mean the person that reads the note will take it that way. So let's see.
Ooh, that's a
yes.
natural 19. Dirty 19.
Yes.
All that you take note of is that it has been removed. Virtually nothing else has changed on this board, which you infer to mean, with your passive insight, that this is not. They did the dungeon interface office did not remove this note. You ascertain your note hit home with whoever you had sent it to.
Oh.
I think entering into the interface office as well, you get quite a few stares, and as soon as silence begins to reign in the office, you can hear Sylvia in the other room be like, "That's my cue, that's my cue." As she begins to move in towards the entrance and sees you, she just hops up on the table and is runs over. "Right, how are you? What can I do for you? Are you here for anything?"
I left a note on the board. The board is gone. They did not reply. They do not
The board's
understand. Whoever took this note does not understand the protocols of sending a letter. When you write a note, you're supposed to reply.
Right. Did you say in the note that you expected a reply?
No. Isn't that a given? Isn't that something that people just know?
That depends. I leave quite a few, bounties on the board, and most of the time the bounties don't reply to those. So most of the time they're dead. Hopefully it's not the same case here. But there's no legal ramifications to not replying. If it's not there, I think that's a good thing, personally.
Okay,
I'm an
I
optimist.
write another note. To the one who stares, I expect a reply. Love, Matilda. And I put it on the
That one
board.
sounds definitely threatening.
That's an intimidation check if I've ever seen one. Beautiful. You place this down on the board, and Sylvia says, "I'll make sure that it gets up real high on the board so everyone can see it." Hey.
You
Jerome.
don't have to do Sylvia. You don't have to do that. It's fine.
No, don't worry about it. Jerome, get over here. You see this human boy kind of approach, "Yes, Sylvia." He's like, "You're tall. Put it up high." Right? Places it up a few feet, and she's like, "Good job, lad. You're gonna go places." Anything else I can do for you, Matilda? Anything at all? I'm here for you.
Do you have a red pen?
Pens are rather expensive, and yes, I do. As she she runs off to her chamber and comes back with 3 pens, and she's like, "I have 3 red pens."
I take one and I underline stairs, and then I underline. I expect to reply very, very a few times, and she looks at it with her pen, nods. Oh,
Sylvia
and
does
then
the same, and she shakes her head. And
with
she's
the
like,
love Matilda. She does a little heart right beside love Matilda. just to add a little bit of confusion to not because that Matilda thinks it's confusing, but yes, a little heart.
She says, typically, if you underline everything, people have a hard time focusing on what should be highlighted in the information. But I like what you've done here. It's very bold. And the heart, it really diffuses the situation. I think it's lovely. Now, if you need, do you?
We will need you soon. I think. Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Vincent has been trying to teach me not to say everything out loud all the time, so I think the rest of this information is going to stay in my pocket. And then when it's ready, I think we need to talk to you in a room that no one else can hear, because people are nosy and they also use information for nefarious purposes. So, good day, Sylvia. I'm leaving before I accidentally say anything else. And she walks out the door.
As you turn, Sylvia's just like, should I say goodbye? I feel like that was pretty definitive. She turns around, and as the door begins to close, she just turns and screams out open as this dude's passing by. She's like, goodbye, Matilda! The guy next to her's like, ah! He just goes around, and it's like, just disrupting the entire flow of the interface. And as you exit out, the door slowly closes behind you. And
That's it for me.
The camera fades away, yeah.
Sorry, I got excited. I see my favorite derby boy in Candace's.
Yeah, Monty came to say hi.
My Monty baby. One of the only dogs I actually like. Hello, Monty.
An absolutely phenomenal picture that has been taken of Monty is of two very similar dogs, and one is literally majestic, and then Monty's like, I don't remember what it was, chomping down on his own clothing. It's fantastic. Excellent dog. Top tier, 10 out of 10 dog.
10 out of 10, good boy.
Such good. Killian, we now find you. What do you do as the first day runs around and you guys leave Old Town? How do you spend this day of prep?
So I'm leaving 200 gold pieces at the family home.
Okay.
Not necessarily donating it to the family pile, but just leaving it there for safekeeping because I don't know what to do with it otherwise. She's then going to return to her home in the monstrous kind of warrens.
You cycle through. You find basically this just constant market outside of your guys' family home as you circle into the block of houses, and you find your wooden stack house. What do you do?
Well, traveling through the market is a very different experience for Killian now that she has a mount. So before she would kind of snake her way through the side sections and passing by people, and it was very crowded. But now she takes very careful note not to squish anyone with her defender as she kind of stomps through the area. She kind of waves to people that she wouldn't normally wave to because now she has the height to see them and be like, oh, hey. But she eventually gets home, and she's gonna see if any of her broodmates are there.
At current, you see Killig is there.
Mm-hmm.
You see Patience is actually absent right now, and Yaga is there. Typically, at this point in time, he's pretty much getting ready for work, which you can see is active. You guys have also a small yard on the outside that has a ton of different trades, tools, simple leatherworking, tanning.
Yeah.
There's glass blowing, a weak glass blowing studio. There's a bunch of things for hey, let's all be productive and get all these things going. And basically that's where you find them, out in the yard.
Okay.
Anybody specifically you were looking for?
Just as many of them as I could talk to. I just kind of clap a little bit to get their attention. I say, hey everyone, listen with your eyes for a second, okay?
What I love too is when you do that, you enter into the yard and you're looking at basically multi-tiered housing with balconies on the outside, doors leading in, and as you enter into this slightly shrouded tree-covered area, stonework floor, you see Yaga tanning on the tanning rack, and as you clap and say that, you just see pop 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 heads of kobolds and goblins and hobgoblins just looking out over top of these balconies as they were all kind of doing their thing.
Tomorrow I'm going into the dungeon. I'm diving. And in case I don't come back, I wanted you guys to know that I'm putting this, and she takes out, how much did I put away? She takes a pouch of 50 gold. I'm putting it in my room, but if I don't come back, split it amongst yourselves. And just open the bag to like show everyone like that there's gold and it's not just like copper and silver or whatever.
I love how often gold comes up in this campaign, so I can just be like, literally, like, I grab tokens, everything but gold. A silver and a copper there. Yeah, you basically just begin to wring out the cash as the crowd begins to murmur amongst themselves. You know a lot of these people. You know basically everybody here. And basically everybody here knows you, as the monstrous share a consistent relationship amongst each other. You see someone comes down from the third floor, and the murmuring slowly begins to stop as more of an air of reverence begins to pour over the people around you. And as they take those individual steps down the wooden stairs on the corner, they approach. You see a very tall bugbear wearing a white kind of cotton cloth drapery. You recognize this bugbear. It is Frugek. This god is one of the gods and the only god who had descended from the dungeon alongside you guys. Frugek, the bugbear and the patron god of all bugbears, approaches you and brings himself down to one knee and says, "You have done fantastic work for everyone here, Killian."
As he would have approached, even though I'm not like a member of his family or a bugbear, I would have also like dropped ahead of time, but I would have been a little confused when he dropped in front of me.
As you go to bring yourself down, he stops you and raises you up and looks you eye to eye and says, "We must all see eye to eye in this world. We are all one, remember.
One tribe.
One tribe. I have come from the forest to speak to you. You have paved many pathways for us, simply with your ingenuity and your care. Do not think it has not taken notice." And as he stands with this bulk and this constantly like light swaying fur that is virtually always spotless clean. He is wearing almost like a clerical robe that has a single eye emblazoned in the center of it with two like hands around the outer edge. And a symbol of the tower within the center of it. And as he looks down upon you, he says, "You have opened doorways, and it has been noticed within the deanery. A monster with a bond is a big deal. And this is a large event in the history of becoming accepted, Killian. This does not speak at the least to your accomplishments, simply to who you are as a person, and your accomplishments will be built upon this foundation you have built, brick by brick. We are all behind you." And you hear the crowd once again begin to murmur. "We all stand as one," and you hear just footsteps hitting the wooden floors of the houses. You can hear people on the inside begin to bang pots and pans against as the clutter begins to just tear out and through. And at this point, you do see Patience kind of approach from the large arched entrance of this courtyard. And she looks in with a beaming smile. Frugek stands and begins to take a few steps towards the entrance. And he says, "I am going to double this." As you hold up the 50 gold, Frugek himself pulls out a pouch. And you can see in his huge hands, this tiny little pouch, as he's like scouring. He says, "I will find the money to double this." He places the pouch back. "And we shall all feast tonight. Come to my family home, one and all. We shall be together in this accomplishment." And you're sitting there being like, "I didn't expect any of this."
Yeah, like, what? It's crazy. Thank you. Yeah. Let's eat.
You hear music begin to play behind you. as someone pulls out a small set of pipes, and this theme just begins to bellow out as half of the kobolds on the second floor just like tuba time, throwing it over their shoulders. This music begins to pour out, and you hear people in the people in the market as well just begin to be like, oh, what's going on over there? And slowly over the course of a couple hours, yeah, basically, just the jovial nature of half of these creatures begins to pour out. In the corner, you see a relatively large group of goblins, lizard folk, and the odd single minotaur that stands in the just far back, continue their work and take no part in this revelry, every now and then taking pensive glances back towards you. Rugek remains for the course of an hour or so before leaving, having received, you see another messenger kind of appear and speak to him, and he begins to leave. Yaga continues their work, but kind of, you see this look of just like, if it was going to be anyone, of course it's you. And then they just continue giving revelry, and Killig remains kind of passive in all of this. He seems a little bit distant. The music continues well into the evening, but I'll bring that down a bit.
Yeah, I'll go up to Killig.
He approaches, the music plays, and they look towards you. It's a right good thing you've been doing. But honestly, you haven't really done much, right? It's just, you're lucky, so congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Listen, have you managed to find any work recently?
Get off my ass, man.
I'm not trying to nag you. I'm just asking. I haven't spoken with you in a long time, and that's not fair of me, but I was very upset the last time we spent time together.
Roll. What tool proficiencies do you have?
Alchemist supplies, leatherworking tools, smith tools, thieves tools, tinker tools.
And you're currently not holding a tool that does everything. So, or maybe you are. Who knows? With your alchemy supplies proficiencies, and actually to touch on that, with the proficiencies that you gain through the all-purpose tool, it grants you the ability to use it as though you're proficient with it. It grants you the proficiency that you would have, like adding your proficiency bonus to checks with the tool. But the one thing it does not give you is the knowledge of the trade. That's the only thing that I would say there. So in instances like this, your alchemy proficiency lets you know that there does seem to be some kind of residue, both on Yaga's face, around his nose, and down his mouth. Killig, yes, sorry.
Okay.
Kind of like this dried, almost like yellowy kind of purple residue. And as he kind of wipes his face while he's talking to you, it just all smears off. He says, "No, I ain't find any work yet. I've been trying, but it's not exactly easy when most of the time you just get kicked in the face for trying."
Yeah, no, that's fair. Listen, I know you're not much of a blacksmith, but I could use someone to watch my shop while I'm gone, while I'm in the dungeon. Would you want to do that? I could pay you.
Roll persuasion.
Fiend.
16. I think he looks at you and says, "I don't need your fucking charity, man."
It's not charity. I just told you I'd pay you.
Well, you want to offer me a job because I ain't had one yet.
It's barely a job. You just have to open up shop and sell whatever I've already made.
You know what?
Make sure no one steals anything.
Fine, shut up. Fine, I'll do it. I'll do it, all right? Just don't bring it up anymore.
Hey. Well, here, and I hand him the keys to the shack that is my current abode, or my business.
Just kind of scrounges them, tosses them. What are we looking at? What do you want me to do? Just open it up in the day?
Just open it up. I have a little piece of paper with how much things sell for. I have 5 things that I've made in that haven't sold. So like once everything's sold, you can put, there's a sign that says sorry, we're not here. You can just leave that there and then just check in on it every couple days.
Right.
It's really not much.
Fine. This is a favor. You owe me one.
Yeah. Well, I also owe you 2 silver a day, so keep track and hopefully I don't die.
Start now. How long what are you doing? You said you're going in the dungeon. You can pay me in advance?
Yeah, sure. I will pay him for a full week.
Okay.
Which would be
a work week is
silver.
A work week is if you're paying him for the full week 7 days, then you can pay him 14 silver, 1 gold, 4 silver. But the concept of a work week in this city is 10 days. So you can pay one or the other, basically. Your choice.
All right, no, I'll pay him I guess 20 silver then. 19 silver and 10 copper because I don't have more
Nice.
silver on.
He takes that and throws it in his shirt and says, all right, I mean, I may as well go now. I've never been a fan of this music.
Okay.
All right, well, hey, be safe in the dungeon.
Yeah. If I find something, is there anything you want me to look for? I know you're always trying to find nostalgic things from our time there.
Don't call me
No
weird.
guarantees I'm getting to the 10th floor, though. Just
That's what I was gonna say. If you make it to 10, just bring me back like a handful. Don't fucking call me weird. I want a handful of dirt.
no, sure, yeah.
You hear a bugbear around you, just like dirt. Silly.
What's wrong with dirt?
It's silly. I said that. You don't
You're
agree.
silly.
He looks down. The other guy's like, no. Get out of here. Fucking read the room. He just turns and just like shores up and begins to leave. You see him like reach the edge of the courtyard and he just looks around to be like, wait, where was the shop again? And he's been there plenty of times. And then he turns right and then stops for a few seconds, turns left and goes the other way.
All right. I guess I enjoy the festivities for the remainder of the night, but I do want to talk to patients before the day is done.
Okay. We can circle back to that one just before we finish out here. And Jojo, we now find you. What do you do in your day of preparation?
Yeah, Jojo's gonna go to the Lavender Cafe and just let anyone who's there know that she'll be gone for a bit.
I think the moment you enter in, Ron like looks at you and can tell that you're just like this information that you're about to share. He's like, Joe. Ooh. He like approaches and sits down, just like preparing himself. It's like very
He just
empathetic.
pats him on the shoulder. How do you do that? Like I haven't even said anything yet.
Very in tune.
Do I even need to say it though?
I'm not very smart.
You know something's off. He
Yeah.
doesn't know what.
Okay, I'm gonna go into the tower tomorrow. I'm gonna go in the dungeon. So I'll be gone for a bit. I don't know how long. I think we're just gonna try and get 4th floor.
With what I know, and families don't look positively on this kind of thing, sharing information about the dungeon. I'm confident you'll be able to handle yourself for a while. Just make sure you go at a pace that you're comfortable with. And don't let your guard down. The dungeon around you knows when you feel confident, and it might lull you into that sense to try and bring you down a pathway that you're not ready yet to face.
I'll make sure to keep my family members in line too. I think there's a few of them that might have a problem with that.
You bring them to me.
Okay.
It's important to move at a comfortable pace. Life can take you so heavily at times, and it's good to know that you can have control over something, even so small.
Mm.
Be careful. We all love you very much.
Thanks, I love you too. Are the others around? Is Elmira and Yuka?
Yes.
Here?
Yes, they are.
Okay. I just wanted to leave something with them.
Whoa. That's nice of you. What is that?
Well, come see, I guess.
All right. Where am I going? He stands.
Where are they? I go to the backyard and look for Yuka.
You head on into the backyard. Give me one brief moment. You make your way through, going through the Lavender Cafe, through the kitchen, down the steps into the backyard, and you find Yuka kind of in the back. He is currently like legs crossed on a small mound of dirt and grass that he has planted himself, and he kind of sits currently under the shade of a small tree, eyes closed.
Hey kid. Am I interrupting and stuff?
You see his eyes open and these like massive pupils just dilate, and he's like, "Oh, no, come on over. What do you wanna meditate with me?"
Sure,
Sick,
yeah.
Sick. I'll get you a dirt mound. He just slowly begins to pile dirt.
Yeah, I just want to tell you, I'm heading into the dungeon tomorrow, so I wanted to leave something with you so that, I
Are
mean,
you leaving
I
any
just,
dungeon stuff? Oh, you haven't
No.
gone in yet.
I haven't gone in yet, but I
Right.
can trade it for dungeon stuff, maybe.
Check this out. And he holds onto a flower, and you see it just bloom in his hands.
Oh, nice.
I finally got it. I
good.
figured it out.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. What were you saying though? And he just drops the flower on the ground. I can make more.
I just need you to hold on to something. This is like, she takes off the shark tooth necklace. I got like this other thing on my neck, and having two things on my neck feels weird. This necklace is important to me because my, jungle left it. So I don't want to bring it in there in case it gets wrecked. So could you hang on to it, and then I'll get it back from you when I come back.
Whoa. Is this like one of those big deals?
No.
No? Oh.
No,
well,
that's not a big deal.
That's a letdown. I was really expecting
Do you
like,
want
a
it
big
to be a
deal.
big deal?
Yeah,
We can make it a big deal.
Yeah, I'd
let's make
appreciate
it a big
that.
deal.
Man, this is a
Okay.
big deal.
I didn't want to freak you out or anything.
No, hey, this is like one of those things where everyone's like, hey, this is my promise that you'll be back, right? But that doesn't matter as much if it's not as big of a deal.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what it is. I just didn't want to freak you out by saying I might not, like, in case I don't come back, here's a thing that's important to me. But,
Cool. You see he begins to tear up.
oh yeah, see, there you go. And she just like brings him in for a hug.
Ron also brings him in for a hug, and the three of you stand under the shade of this oak tree for a moment. You see Elmira, in the kitchen that you had passed by, listening in through the fence as she approaches, and on a very rare occasion, just joins this circle. Don't die.
No, I'm not gonna die.
Good.
Yeah. I got you a thing too. I thought you might like this. There's like this thing I got from Cisco. And she takes out this like stone that's just like glossy and black. And Jojo waves her hand in the air with a spell that Elmira probably recognizes as Shock and Grasp. And she says like, Keros Raika. And as the like lightning down her arm, she like holds the stone in the hand with the lightning, and as she opens her hand, the stone is like glowing as if hot, but not burning her, and she just like mushes it into like the shape of a bracelet and then like blows on it, and it's eventually stops glowing and it retains the shape. Yeah, this thing's pretty cool. I think it might be from the dungeon actually, so she gets dungeon stuff. But yeah, hang on to this for.
She takes it and she's like, "What the? How did you just?"
Yeah, I got magic.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
No, how did you actually do that? Did you like flex hard enough?
Yeah, it's all in the muscles.
Static
I guess you gotta
electricity
start
buildup.
working out.
I'm going to study this phenomenon. You can't have magic. That's not allowed.
I got another one too, but I've never cast it because
Prove
there's
it.
like the thing that is I won't, because there's like a possibility I might use instantly kill someone within 30 feet of me.
Sure, it's I'm sure it's so powerful, just like your piddly little shocking grasp. I'm sure it will just blow people up. Oh, how likely.
You.
Ron
Well,
places
next time
Yeah.
I'll show you. Next
Ron-
time I'll show you. Just stay real close to me.
Ron places a hand on both of your heads and smiles and is like, I love how you two get along so well. Elmira just kind of huffs for a second and then kind of just stares off, and you see her just like a...
One day when you grow up, you'll get magic.
I swear, I'm sorry I was ever sad. And then she stands up and kind of clutches the thing that you're holding in her hand, like fiercely, before she stomps back into the kitchen and is like, the fuck do you want for lunch?
Man, I thought I had the temper. I think she's getting worse.
Yeah, I think she is. We have to speak once more about the nature of this meditation. And roll perception.
Percepzione, that's the thing right here.
10. Cool.
10.
Cool. Yuka begins to make actually, let me roll something. Wonderful. Yuka begins to make the mound of dirt. And as he does so, you can see that he places like a small like air cushion underneath the ground as he begins to pile dirt on that and use it as a base. And he's sitting there being like, puts some grass on top, and then he sits down like heavily, just like plops down on his, and he's like, all right, time for just to sit.
Okay, feigning ignorance. Like, should I roll a performance check or something, or deception?
Up to you, one or the other.
They're all bad. They're all negatives.
Ron has also noticed. So this is basically
13.
whether or not you're entertaining yourself and Ron, or if you're just deceiving him. 13. Let me roll insight for him. Okay. You go over and you just like plop down on this thing, and immediately as you sit, it just pops, grass flies everywhere, you slam into the ground, and then Ron's just like Yuka just begins to screech out loud. Like the trees around you guys begin to shake slightly with just the bellowing of the laughter from these two just like massive creatures. And as slowly they begin to die down, Yuka's like, okay, but for real though, let's figure this out. And Ron's just like, that was a good one. I didn't expect that one. He did. He saw it. You can see the giddy look in his face as you begin to sit down.
Yeah, and they just hang out a bit before she heads back to the family home.
Awesome. There's a little bit of time left in this segment. If there's anything else you wanted to put some RP in.
No, I don't think so. I think that's all she wanted to do.
Alrighty. And as we circle through everyone, Matilda, there was some, or not Matilda, sorry. Killian, there was something you wanted to establish with Patience.
I just wanted to talk to Patience.
Cool. You approach Patience in her study at the top floor of this kind of stack house. Killian, oh, it's so good to see you. Here, let me clear a seat. And she throws some books off of a chair.
Scramble onto the chair. Hi, Patience. I wanted to say thanks. Thank you. Just in case something bad happens, you've been really nice, and really helpful for everyone.
She places a finger over your mouth as you finish your statement. She says, no, let's not. Imagery is reality, remember? Picture in your mind what's going to happen, your success and your safety. You're going to be fine. And you never need to thank me, Killian. I do everything that I do for selfish reasons. I want to help you. I want to help you all. I want to see them all succeed like you have. She just like pulls back for a second. I told myself I wouldn't get emotional. So I won't.
Okay.
Just tries to stare forward. You see it like just her eyes begin to water.
I know people can't talk about what happens in the dungeon to climb it, and I know that you've made it pretty far. But do you think we could just I've kind of blocked out a lot of what happened when I was coming back down from the 10th floor. But I feel like maybe I can try to remember something. Um, I just figured if anyone can help me with that, it might be you.
Which family is Patience a part of? Trying to remember.
Patience is a part of. Let me check my notes.
Actually, I also have this here.
Helm.
Helm's family. Okay. Go ahead and roll a persuasion check. You see she sits and thinks for a long time, and she struggles with this concept, and she says, she like latches onto an idea, and she's like, I can't tell you anything you don't know, but I don't see anything wrong with trying to remind you of things you do. So let's try this. Let's talk for a bit. And she closes her windows, closes the door. She sits down and begins to like ready herself. And how this, I think, mechanically works will be a nature of, as she is talking to you, I need you to make one check here, a wisdom saving throw.
Oh yeah, I'm super good at those.
A 10, default. As you attempt to retain this information, and as she's like leading you through in these just cryptic questions and answers, you're trying to figure out like what it was that you recalled from the 10th floor down. In this instance, if something happens in the dungeon, because you do have prior knowledge that kind of has been locked out, I will allow you checks to see if you can recall specific pathways or things that other people might not have within the dungeon because of your everything about you. So as you and Patience kind of say this heartfelt goodbye and a fond hello for the next time, she tells you she will have a nice meal ready for everybody on your return from your first foray. Just be careful, be slow. You should be able to handle what the lower floors can throw at you. She says you've grown a lot in everything that's going on and with everything that you've all done so far. And as time continues to pass, you all once more
Meet
prepare.
up at the interface.
Meeting up at the interface office in the eastern interface where Sylvia resides. You find a familiar face waiting outside, wearing a pack and some traveling leathers. You see it's Seelan McGurmick.
Oh, hey.
How's it going?
Are you coming back from retirement?
He pulls out his he pulls back the leather on his forearm, and you see a symbol of Lavos emblazoned on his
What?
forearm.
What?
Your God called in a favor. Can't rightly say no to my saviors now, can I? So I'll be helping you out for the first couple floors. What I can.
Wait, so like he has a bond to Lavos, or is it something different?
He has joined your guys' family, albeit temporarily, potentially. Seelan McGurmick has come out of retirement.
What?
He says, "I
Do you
got-
mind? And Vincent will lean in saying that he wants to see what his bond is.
All you.
I'll look. What is his class and stats and stuff?
He is a fighter. He is not showing you. He is not willing to show you guys like his statistics, but you can see that he is a second rank fighter.
What level?
The level is he is 9.
Wow.
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 No,
That's third rank, Adrian.
1 sec. Sorry,
Level 9 is third rank. Anything after 8.
I think 8. Basically, I was trying to say he's bumped up against the next rank. You're
then 8.
correct. 9 to 11 is third rank. He's a second rank adventurer. He has never succeeded in passing that threshold. But he says, I'm gonna be helping you out in there just a little bit. Can't do too much. Can't do too little. But I can offer you a bit of what I know.
I appreciate the help. Vincent will lean up. I feel like Lavos doesn't really have trust in his as much as I thought he did.
Oh, he do. Trust me, yeah. That he's persuasive. There's a lot in the dungeon that you can't know unless you do. And that's where I come in. At least for
I
a while.
understand.
Leans back. No. Let's get going.
One quick note, one thing you guys know right away. Vincent looks way different than he usually does. He's wearing like it's a nice outfit, but it's not like the wealthy aristocratic stuff you're used to. It's like hard leathers. He's got equipment and pouches and things like that. Like he's taking this rather seriously. He's got a nice shoulder like protection on the other side. There's a nice side cape. It still looks really cool, but definitely different.
One thing also to say, because we kind of passed over this, Matilda, you've also gained a title upon checking in with Lavos.
Oh!
You've gained the Fey Touched title.
Ooh, cool.
Does it stem from my missing finger?
Yeah.
And then a little bit
A
of
little
it.
bit.
You were literally
A
touched.
little bit. You're literally Fey Touched, yeah.
Um,
Yes. As you all begin to stride into the interface office, you see Seelan McGurmick kind of moving in, keeping his eyes down for the most part as people look on towards you guys, and the murmurs once again begin. You see several different people kind of staring at you, one of which sitting over in the corner, the same person who had stared at you previously, Jojo, legs crossed, reading a book in kind of this lounge area. You see a human kind of wearing this pale blue long robe. As he looks at you, he's wearing this massive, like almost comically large wizard hat as he just like pushes it up to get it out of his face, this floppy thing. He just looks at the group as you all pass by, kind of clocks each and every one of you.
It's the same one who was staring at me before with the red mark?
Yes. It's the same person who had stared at you previously when you had entered into the interface the first
weird. He was not
He
wearing
looks
weird.
so,
hat.
I was definitely not getting wizard vibes from him
Nope.
before. And
You most certainly were not.
is he close enough this time to see whose family the mark is on his neck?
No, he's still basically the same distance as he was before.
Okay.
And it's not like prominently shown. It's like half covered by his clothing, pretty much.
Oh,
all
He
shown.
just does like a head nod towards them and keeps going.
He raises an eyebrow.
You have someone who stares at you too. If you leave them a note, they might take it and not reply.
Is that what happened to you?
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll have lots of eyes on us when we do things. We're special after all each and every one of us. He'll turn towards Seelan. I'm still working on whether or not you're special, but we'll see.
Nobody to worry about.
Do you mind waiting out here? We got a quick thing to talk about with Adrian, what is it called? Our dungeon.
Oh, the dungeon keeper?
Yeah, our dungeon keeper.
Wouldn't he need to
Yeah, he's part
also
of the
do that?
family.
Because he
I
needs to
guess.
register as our family.
We can absolutely just hand wave through this scenario. This doesn't require any RP.
Okay.
Seelan tells you guys that as a guide, which is basically like a job title, he's kind of a transient. Like he's not necessarily a part of your
Yeah,
guys'
he's not fully a
family.
part of the family.
Yeah, not in a way that he would register at current. This is basically
Gotcha.
a favor that he's doing at the moment. So he sits back. Killian, you register at the party. Do you wish to register an adventurer name? You can give yourself a moniker. And the examples that were given were Lady Grimm for the guild's high rank, a 4th rank warlock, and a Orion for a very high rank wizard.
I think Jojo was the Calamity.
Yeah.
Jojo decided to be the Calamity.
You can do it at any point. You don't have to do it right now.
She'll think on it.
Cool.
She'll think on it.
And you guys register Killian? Do you guys register as a full party?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your party name?
Say it, Bianca.
Say it. I actually forgot what was
Is
it?
the deviant.
Oh, the deviants. Of course.
That needed to be said in Vince's voice for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really
I'll
wanted
look
it.
over to Sylvia and be like, we're the deviants, of course.
So he's like, I wouldn't have it any other way. As she writes down the deviants on your guys' forms, and like leading that into the back room, comes back with these literally still red hot glowing pieces of metal that she dunks down into this large kind of oak barrel off to the side. And as she pulls it, they are this almost shimmering kind of opalescent tags with your guys' adventurer names if you offered them. Otherwise, your names on one side and the deviants on the other.
He'll take them and put it on.
Yeah.
Excellent. So if any of you if you go into the dungeon, we'll know. And if anything happens to any of you, and you don't return after any certain period of time, if you'd like to tell us about it, We'll send the hounds to find you.
I think a week. Week?
A week?
We were planning on trying to get to the end of the 4th floor. So I don't know how long that usually
I
takes.
don't know if we'll do that all in one go. We still need to come back.
I thought that was the goal for this dive.
That's just the ongoing goal.
Oh, okay.
Sylvia says, I'm afraid I can't share how long it takes to get across any individual floor.
It's
Sorry
okay.
about that.
Well, let's see how it goes. If we can make it to the end of the 4th floor, then we can. I'd say, what do you think? 2 weeks, guys? We should come out? Or are you prepared to be in there for a month?
This is the when they should send someone to come look for us. So I think that it's smarter to send it a bit earlier than later. So even if they go looking for us and they find us in there, at least they know that we're safe. Do we get in trouble? Do we get in trouble if we ask you to come find us after a certain point in time and you find us still doing our thing?
No. Nope. That's totally fine.
Okay.
No, just say however long you believe you're going to be in there, and give an estimate that you believe is fair. Obviously, it's hard to do initially, but I understand completely. You guys give her a couple weeks. She writes that down and sends you on your way. As you enter back into the interface office, the main proper, you see Seelan kind of leaned up against a wall. You see a fuming halfling walking away from him. And he just kind of like stands up, shirks that off, and moves on towards the lot of you. He's decked out literally like a Western gunslinger with tons of packs.
I'll walk up and be like, past romances? Or she looked kind of upset.
Past relationship. Romance? No. Some things that are hard to explain. Leave those to the wind.
Well, and Vincent will do a little bit of a bow gesture, but not like fully over. Lead the way.
He begins to take a step towards the downstairs. And as you approach the side of the interface office, you see the hewn stone of the dungeon itself that the interface is built and butting into, and this large ashen archway that is made of this just fine, very pale wood. You can see incredibly intricate carved patterns along the archway itself. And Seelan points at it and says, keep your eye out for these. This is the floor marker. This is what's going to get you to the next floor.
One thing to note, Adrian, because the dog tags seem to have confused me because you only gave 4 out. Paka is supposed to be with us. He should.
That's totally fine. Paka can absolutely get one, and he's sitting there.
Does he have a name?
Paka's no, not yet. He wants an adventurer name, but like he said, names are a big thing for Lazulda. So he will figure that out once he's a little bit closer to his goal. Yeah, no tunities.
Not a tunity.
Not even
one.
Tunity. No, do not hold on to that. 0 tunities. As you guys reach the doorway, Seelan looks back towards you, and you see him hold his words for a moment. As you guys pass through the doorway, everything at once just goes silent. And you hear his voice echoing out as the room behind you goes dark. You see, it's as though the candles themselves remain on, but the light is swallowed up. And with each step you go down, you hear a resounding tone of footfall hitting marble. You see around you the walls, stone melding into itself as though naturally formed into this arched downward staircase. And with each step down, you guys hear and see less and less of each other. But you can't seem to stop your descent. Like gravity pulling you downwards, each step continues one after the next as you guys grow further and further from each other. And in the distance, you hear Seelan's voice. Everybody roll perception.
Including Bladebeak?
Bladebeak. Can Bladebeak speak? You can telepathically communicate with it, right?
I don't think it can communicate.
I asked if it was sentient and it wasn't.
Languages understands the languages you speak. So.
Okay, then you can absolutely roll perception for Bladebeak.
One's for Killian. And this one's for Bladebeak.
Every one of you except for Bladebeak. Here's what Seelan has to say as his words echo out into the distance. He says, "Keep your eye on the horizon. You're only going to get one chance for this." And then in that brief moment, your foot hits the ground as you hear the sound of water. Your second foot hits the ground and you see just off into the distance this just void of darkness. The only light coming from the ripples that cascade from your feet. The sky endless. The ground just a plane of reflective water reflecting nothingness up from above. And as you look down and you see your own reflection in the distance, every one of you rolls perception with advantage for Seelan's offer of aid in this instance.
I'll roll with advantage.
Okay.
Oh, I rolled persuasion on the first one, so you can -1 from that. Or
Okay, no, that's fine. Jojo, Matilli, Killian, there we go.
Did you call me Matilli? That's so cute.
Matilli's
Matillion.
really cute.
Matilli's good, yeah, keep that.
Yeah.
That's yours.
So
Awesome.
I got
Killian did not do very well. Bladebeak got a 17 though,
Awesome.
in case that matters.
As you all glance out into the distance, passives do count for this. So in this instance, Vincent, your passive does catch this. Jojo, clear as day. Matilda and Bladebeak confers this information to you, Killian. You do note that everyone's gone, but you and Bladebeak remain together as you find yourself in this infinite plane of water. In the distance, you spot a lone knight standing with a brilliant glimmering shield and a blade that seems to strike awe and fear into you in equal measure, as both the blade and the shield hit the ground, and those ripples of water begin to spread. Slowly they turn towards you, but in the distance, the silhouette, for the most of you, is completely blocked. But Jojo, you spot a pair of very kind, soft blue eyes piercing back towards you, and two luminescent teardrops that form and fall. And as the tear falls from the chin of this individual, all of you see the sky become alight with a pale gray, and ash begin to fall around all of you. And for a brief moment, you feel as though you're falling before you once again find yourself as the water rises above you and passes instantaneously. You find your footing. And alongside Seelan, who looks at each and every one of you, seeing, like, just gauging your reaction, he shores up his backpack and begins to walk as you find yourselves on a trodden road. Stone steps sat out on the side, leading up to a small ruined bit of stone architecture, long since been useful. Stone pathway leading in front of you and stretching on for as far as the eye can see into the horizon of a twilight-lit sky. Seelan says, "Welcome to the dungeon."
Bianca, the player, is going to need some clarification because that was confusing for me. But I don't know if you guys are okay.
I would love a recap of everything we just saw.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I don't understand what exactly happened.
Let's start with questions. What do you feel?
I just want to know, like, so we walked in through a dark tunnel,
Order.
and then we opened up into like a blue landscape where it was like
Infinite water.
infinite water, like blue sky reflecting on each other. So just like a big blue box.
Yeah. And there was a
And
night
it was just-
on.
It was like a void. You entered into a void. It was like a black plane of water reflecting a black sky. And then you
Was
saw
black,
a knight in the distance.
Mm.
He turned around towards you, and then ash began to fall. That's what all of you saw as he dropped his weapons almost sullenly. And Jojo, you managed to spot the blue eyes and the luminescent tears. Among all of you, you then found yourselves basically on what amounts to a normal road. You turn around, you see the ash gate behind you, leading to nowhere. And in front of you, you see this road stretching onto eternity, a blue sky above you, an impossible blue sky.
So that's what I'm confused. Is the blue sky in with the night, or is it now over the road that we're on? Because you said it was in twilight.
You guys, that's true. Sorry. It is a pale, like, twilight sky, so you see blue at the top, and then it kind of comes down to the sun in the distance. Yeah. So the like void room was previously, and then as the water like raised above you guys, you found yourselves here. Like that was literally like it happened over the course of a
Yeah.
split second
Yeah.
for you.
It's like a
Yeah.
little thing as we walked and we saw it and we fell. Cool. I just wanted to make sure.
Sweet. And that is where we will. Oh, do you have another question? Oh, I thought I saw people. I thought, honestly, I saw each of you be like, eh. I was like, okay. That is where we will end today's session. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time in the Dragonleaf. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Wow, wow, wow.